There we go. That's the correct microphone. We're here. I have rushed home from work once again. Never a quiet moment. Why is there a monkey in place of the live chat? That is not how it's supposed to be. Are we live? I feel like we're live. Alright, I need to tweet out everything. I see people typing in chats. I'm gonna assume that we're live. Hello, everyone. Hello. Sorry that I'm a bit late. I think I'm actually not late. It's just that I haven't set everything up properly. So I'll get this working in a second. Just give me a few minutes. We'll let some people trickle into the stream. How's everyone been? It's been 2 weeks. I've missed you all. Let me try and fix the chat. Right now, it's just a monkey. There we go. You're no longer monkeys. You love to see it. Rocking the Piastri hoodie again. I mean, I feel like I cannot stop using this hoodie until he actually doesn't win a race, right? Though it is quite hot for it, I will say. Morning, fellas. Evening, fellas. Good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I need to do some vocal exercises to get me going because I've been sitting in a car all day. And I have not prepped water. I've not prepped the stream. I've not prepped absolutely anything. I just rushed home. I had like 10 minutes to try and fix everything. And then now we're here. You'll love to see it up. Is the music good? Okay, I haven't been able to test like volume levels. So how's like my voice compared to the music? Music up, music down. What's the volume like? I just have some background music going. Music seems fine? Okay, fantastic. I'll up it when we get to the hype moment. Mercedes or Red Bull? We're gonna talk about that for sure. What's the feasibility of using Limitless this weekend? Limitless... I think Limitless looks good points-wise. Though, if Williams come up and like sort of ruin the party a bit, I think that could damage the value of Limitless. Because obviously you're not like rushing out to buy Williams asses on a limitless weekend. So what music? Thanks, no, thanks Brooklyn. So listen, I think the limitless is feasible. It's just that do you have a good team in the back to gain budget with it? I would assume not, because like everyone's stuck with Behrman, who probably needs to be sold. Alright, let me actually tweet out that we're live, and let's see. Yeah, let's play some grid music. So are you suggesting Williams? I'm suggesting like buy Albon, right? I think if you can afford Albon, I think that's definitely on the cards. I'm not willing to stretch it so far as to rush for the Williams constructor just yet. But I do think Albon is a fantastic option if you can afford it, and I do think Sainz will be a fantastic option once, you know, he can actually increase in price. Rain is live, by the way. Yes, I am. I am live. That is correct. That would be the correct assessment. Let me see. Alright, let me tweet again. I'm gonna tweet out, do all the things I should have done before starting the stream. I know, but I'm just not that prepared, okay? It's one of those weekends. Live now. All questions. That's how you spell that word. Will be on third. Limitless, Colapinto, Williams, Red Bull. Colapinto, Red Bull. No question will be left unanswered. I don't know. And then just pop the quick little F1 fantasy and a little cheeky link and Control C. Go into Blue Sky. You know how it is. Boom. Let's post it in Discord as well. Move it over here. Yeah, so while I'm doing this, I'm gonna try and multitask. That is not usually my forte, right? Let's not reveal my friends list. We have... I'm gonna try and multitask, right? I think my moves are very likely to be a triple switch. And I'm very likely to get Alex Albon in, and then Franco Colapinto and Gabriel Bortoleto. That gives me 2.5 million in the bank, which opens up for a potential move from Hadjar to Gasly next week, if things go according to plan this week. I get Albon in, which looks really, really good, and then Colapinto and Bortoleto cannot decrease in price over the coming couple of races, so I feel like that is a good start. This is my plan, at least for now. Obviously, this could change, but I'm very likely to be doing this exact switch. I should actually shoot a message over on... But yeah, let me get the chat up so we can answer some questions. Can you show what the top teams on F1 Fantasy Tools are choosing for this weekend? We will definitely look at the elite data. I mean, elite data is very important, a very important bit of information, and we'll for sure look at that on F1 Fantasy Tools. So let me copy this and just send it over here. Alright, yeah, so let's go on to F1 Fantasy Tools. Everyone knows, I mean, this is the best site for F1 Fantasy stuff. If you haven't been on this website before, what are you doing? And here on F1 Fantasy Tools, you have, can you see this? No, you can't. Let me actually... just move, oh no, that's the wrong thing. So you guys can see, let me do a little quick tutorial here. Yeah, let's just do that for now. Here, you have elite data. So you click this, and then this, you can either select here Global 500 or Patron 500. Now, Global 500 is going to be really good later on in the season to actually see, you know, who's top of the world. But currently, as you can see by the chip usage column here, you can see that almost all of them have used their limitless. 98% of the top 500 have used their limitless. And for the 3X, it's 37.4%. And I think this is, you know, indicative of a few things. One, that, like, a lot of people just pop all their chips immediately to gain an early advantage, and then they're going to fall off. Meanwhile, the Patron 500 are, like, actually proven good managers or good strategists that use F1 Fantasy Tools and are on the, you know, the pay for the patron. By the way, if you want that, the premium features, you can do so with my code. And as you can see, only 4.8% of them, sorry for screaming into the mic, only 4.8% of them have actually used their 3X. So I think this is where we should be looking early on in the season to see what teams people are running. Again, Limitless is 67%. I don't think that's too crazy, because Limitless is really good to use early on in the season. And a Wildcard is 26%. I also think that's not super crazy. No Negative is also really, really high because of the Miami usage. So I think that's totally reasonable. But again, like, Final Fix, only 1% have used it. And then the AP is only 1.2% as well. Whereas again, Global 500, it's way higher. So on the Patron 500, you can see what people are running. And as you can see, 99% of people have Piastri in the Patron 500. And then it sort of peters off a bit. And then again, as you can see here, McLaren and Mercedes are owned by over 90%. Again, 99% for McLaren, 93% have Mercedes. So someone asked earlier in the stream, as soon as we sort of started up, what my opinion on Red Bull is. And I think Red Bull is really, really interesting because F1 Fantasy Tools themselves, every week they do some simulations based on race pace. And for a budget of like 110 million, which I feel like is slightly above average where people are at currently on their budgets, they actually prefer Red Bull for points. Now, obviously, I don't think anyone's going to go out and buy Lawson and Alonso. I think in this case, you would almost always have Colapinto and Bortoleto instead. But obviously, that's just a cheaper team. So you could probably afford this, you know, even at 105, maybe even. Maybe not 105, but like 107. So what is important here is that it actually thinks Red Bull is better. Now, it's not that I make big margin, but there is something to be said about Red Bull. And I think the main value of an asset like Red Bull is, if you look at the elite data, they're only owned by 2.4% of the top managers. And I think that's where the value lies, because you're so different from everyone else. And I mean everyone else in the top. Now, granted, if Red Bull has a DNF and Mercedes don't, you're kind of screwed. Your week is awful. However, if it's the opposite, you are laughing all the way to the bank. So I do think there's value in considering something like Red Bull, but I'm not so sure, personally at least, that I would rush out to buy it, right? If you're already on a McLaren Red Bull strategy, I think you stick with it. But if you don't have it, I think there are other moves that you should prioritize. Now, granted, downgrading assets into like Bortoleto and Colapinto will give you the budget you need to move to Red Bull if you want to. And I don't think that's a terrible move. But another driver that I think is really good is Alex Albon. As you can see, he's currently only owned by 1.2%. Obviously, I think he's kind of the hot commodity this week, so I think this is going to jump up by a significant margin. But getting Albon in, for me personally at least, feels like more value long term than getting Red Bull now. And it's also less risky, right? I think there's a higher upside to going from, you know, like an Ocon where I'm at now to Alex Albon. Though I do think that we'll see a lot of people move from specifically like Ocon and Behrman up to Albon this week. So I expect this number to rise. I think it's very interesting again that Stroll was on 0%. I think we can see that rise this week for sure as well, considering his performance last week in Miami. But I personally think going for Albon or going for Stroll or going for even Gasly is better use of my transfers than getting Red Bull in. But again, I do like it as a differential option. Like, don't get me wrong, Red Bull looks absolutely amazing compared to the rest of the field. If Red Bull has a good weekend, even Max Verstappen snagging a wing, which he can pop up and do at any point, right? That's what you're hoping for if you pick Red Bull. You're hoping for a Max Verstappen win, and that would really sail you up the ranks. So I think this this site or this page on F1 Fantasy Tools is fantastic. And if you want to use their premium features, again, you have the code right there. Let's do some more questions from chat. That was a really good one. Thank you so much, Suera. David G says, should I use Limitless? I think it depends on a couple of things. One, how good is Williams, right? Because you're not going to buy Williams assets on a Limitless. Do we think like Williams can actually be up there and fight with the top 5? I think maybe. I mean, there's a chance. However, I do think Imola, like, we've talked about Imola being good for Limitless points-wise, or delta-wise, I should say, compared to the other grids, or the other tracks on the calendar. I think Imola is a good week for Limitless, but Limitless sort of requires you to have a good team in the back for you to gain the most value out of the chip. So if you Limitless, but you have like, again, let's go over to the budget builder. These are now the percentage. I'm actually just going to go over to the required points view. If you're sitting there with like Ole Behrman, who needs 23 points to increase in price, and you Limitless, you're just gonna lose value. And I think Limitless should be used when you're looking likely to gain value from the assets that you have in your main team. So I've personally completely abandoned Limitless for this week. And I'm looking to either use it in Monaco or Spa or Hungary currently. We'll see if I use it in Monaco or not. It sort of depends on what happens here in Imola. But yeah, I do think some of the value with the Limitless is the potential of gaining budget in the back. Lars, should we try for Monaco then? I think one interesting thing with preparing for a Monaco Limitless is going for Williams, right? There are hype about Williams. Williams look really like to increase 0.6 million in price, and I do think if you're someone who is willing to take, that's funny. If you're willing to take a punt on Williams for this week, I do think you're kind of half locking in the Limitless in Monaco, because I do think the Limitless becomes way more powerful when you have a cheap constructor in your team. So you could do something this week of like switching Mercedes to Williams, upgrading something to Albon, and then maybe a Colapinto in there, and that's your 3 transfers if you have 3 free, and then you Limitless in Monaco and hope to get a lot of budget on that. So I think that's definitely a viable strategy. Personally, I'm not gonna do that. I think the points from Mercedes is just going to be way better than Williams. However, I'm looking at getting Albon in, but I do think that I wouldn't. If my team looks perfect, even with your McLaren, Mercedes, I can consider using the Limitless in Monaco. It's definitely not off the table, but it's not something I'm actively planning towards. It's something more like, okay, this looks good in the moment, I'm going to go for it. Is Red Bull Mercedes better now after FP2? Well, we just talked about that actually. So Christian, if we would scroll back 10 minutes into the stream, you can get your answer right there. But in general, I think Red Bull is good, but I wouldn't personally go out and buy them, especially not when we have so many cheap drivers on our teams that we have to sell. Now, granted, if you only need to sell 2 of your cheap drivers and you can buy Colapinto and Bortoleto and then upgrade Mercedes to Red Bull, I think it's definitely a viable move. It's just not something I'm interested in. Ocon to Behrman or Gasly. I wouldn't buy Behrman this week. I probably also wouldn't buy Gasly this week. I would buy Gasly next week. I would do Ocon to Bortoleto and then next week upgrade Bortoleto to Gasly or Behrman just to save, or Gasly mainly to save some value. Nico said, what will be your move? My move is very likely to be this. So this is my team currently. Currently I have a 110.1 million cost cap. So I think that's slightly average. What's everyone in chat in actually? I like doing this once every stream just to get a check. So spam your cost caps in chat. All you gotta do is go into your team, remove every asset, and see what the cost cap is, and pop it in chat. And let's see where everyone's at. 109.1, 110.7. See, we have some popping in. 110.3. I do think 110 is around the average. 113 from Joshua is nasty work. 112 from Nicoletta. Some people on 108, 109. I think 108 to 109 is definitely fine. 105 is rough, but you just gotta work with what you got. Hope that Albon starts DNFing a bunch. That's the thing. With 105 million, right? Obviously, 105 million feels bad, but what you can do with 105 million is you just build the same team as everyone else, but instead of having Albon, you have I don't know, Nico Hulkenberg. I don't know why I said Nico Hulkenberg, but you know what I mean, right? And then you just gotta hope that Albon doesn't perform. That's sort of what you gotta do when you're on lower budget, and that definitely can work if you get it correct. You're just slightly on the back foot. 111, 113, 113.4 is pretty crazy from Elvis. Anyway, yeah, so this is my team. What was the question? It was from Nico. I need to sell Alonso and Behrman. Ocon is not a must sell, but it's not someone I'm super happy holding. So I'm likely doing this, and then I like putting my drivers in order. So we're doing this, and we're doing this, and we're doing this. So this is likely to be my moves. I'm using 3 free transfers. to get Alonso, Behrman, and Ocon out for Albon, Colapinto, and Bortoleto. This gives me 2.5 million in the bank, and that leaves me only 0.2 million away from Pierre Gasly next week. And I'm hoping that Pierre Gasly drops 0.6 million in price this week, so that I can snatch him up in Monaco. And that would be my ideal Monaco team, I think. Can I make my 3 changes in order to increase budget and then use the Limitless? No, you cannot. Once you use the Limitless, your team will revert back to what it was the previous weekend you had it. So you can make 44 transfers and then activate the Limitless, and none of those transfers would have gone through. Good day, sir. Good day. What would be the best Limitless team after FP3? I think the Limitless... The number one thing, right? Again, we're just going to go quickly over here to the elite data. 99% of people, again, I remind you, 99% of people in the Patreon top 500, which is like the elite 500 people, have Piastri in their teams. If you Limitless and you put the 2x on Piastri, you're wasting the potential of the chip. Because you can put that 2x on Lando Norris, and it looks way, way better for your team, right? Because only 9.5% of people actually have him 2x. So, if you're... Sorry. If you're using Limitless, you don't put the 2x on Piastri because everyone has the 2x on Piastri. So what you actually do is, again, I can't really show it here, but I do think, again, you try and go against the grain. So, again, why would you pick Mercedes on a Limitless when you could pick Red Bull? I think you gotta take those kinds of risks when it looks like Red Bull is slightly better than Mercedes this week. Just go for the, all that's needed is a fastest lap from Red Bull, and Max Verstappen put it P2, and suddenly they're, 20 points ahead of Mercedes, and you've had a fantastic Limitless. So I would go for, if I were to Limitless this week, I would go for McLaren plus Red Bull, and I would go for double McLaren drivers, obviously, that's must have. I would probably put the 2x on Norris, or Verstappen. I would definitely have Verstappen in there. The second, the fourth and fifth driver is definitely more up to vibes. I think George Russell is a must-have in there, just because of how consistent he has been this season. I feel like he's always top 5. So you I feel like you must put Russell in there, because he's just someone he's just going to be P4, right? And then the last driver is very much up in the air. I probably would maybe go for Kimi Antonelli because it's his home race, so maybe he is likely for a driver of the day. You could also go for a cheeky Yuki Tsunoda punt, but I'm not so sure I would risk that. You already have the Red Bull Racing points. So I would probably try and go for Kimi Antonelli and hope that he gets driver of the day. But if you want to go for Lewis Hamilton or Charles Leclerc because it's Ferrari home race, I think that's totally reasonable as well. You could even maybe go for Alex Albon on a Limitless. I don't think that's the craziest thing in the world. But yeah, the final 2 drivers are very much up in the air. I think the 5 locks for me would be Red Bull, McLaren, double McLaren driver, Verstappen, and then George Russell, actually. So it's actually probably only the final driver that I'm unsure about. That would be my Limitless team. What do you think of Red Bull as a differential? Max was fast on mediums. Yeah, I talked about this before earlier, that I think they're good. And I think they're really, really good as differentials, and that's the reason why they're good. But I wouldn't rush to buy them. Thanks, very helpful. You are welcome. Worth wildcarding this week to prepare for a possible Monaco Limitless. I think wildcard this week is definitely viable. I'm actually using not Limitless. I'm actually using wildcard on one of my other teams, because I feel like it works out well with changing out the backmarker drivers, and it sets me up nicely for Monaco. So I think wildcarding this week is definitely viable. Having a higher budget isn't helping me, as Tsunoda and Antonelli are predicted to go down, so I'm staying away from them. Yeah, I think so too, but I think starting from Monaco, it looks better for you, right? And definitely everyone with higher budget. Let's go back to this one. Again, let's check the budget pillar. So Antonelli doesn't look great, obviously, for price increases, which is unfortunate. But Yuki Tsunoda is going to look fantastic for price increases after Imola. Unless he DNFs in Imola as well. Because the DNF from round 5 is going to be gone. So his 33 points from Miami is really going to help him climb in budget over the next 2-3. So I think Tsunoda looks really, really good for those with a high budget in Monaco. To increase their lead over us plebs. For possible limitless in Monaco, Albon or Stroll? I would go for Albon. I think Stroll is only going to increase 0.2 million this race. And then next race, he's probably also only increasing 0.2 million. And I'd rather have Albon for the long term. And the points. Is 112 a high budget? Yeah, I would say that's on the higher side. For sure. The highest I've seen someone have, I saw on Twitter, was like 114. And that's the highest I've seen. The highest I saw in chat earlier today was like 113.5 maybe? Yeah, 113.5 from Joshua. That's the highest I've seen in chat. If I use Limitless, should I use the top 5 in FP3 or another combo? I can't remember who was top 5 in FP3. But I just said it. I mean, it's... Wait, let me get... Let me get Canva up here. So I can just pop... I feel like I'm going to get this question a lot, so I'm just going to make a quick little graphic to put on... slap on screen. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. And then we do this. Let's see. Teams. Smack, smack. And then we do a little... heading there, limitless Imola. Perfect. There we go. I'm just gonna download this and slap it up. Alright, Celtic, you made it. Welcome. You got balance points with budget? For sure. But I do think... And that's kind of what I'm doing with Stroll, right? I think Stroll is kind of like budget bait in a way. Where it's like, if you go for Albon, he's actually the one who's going to get you points because, you know, Stroll is not going to get a 25-pointer again. What do you think about running the same team for all three teams? I mean... There are very few variations of teams that are actually super viable right now. If you really believe in one team, I think it's fine. But also know that, you know, 3 DNFs and you're crying. Your weekend's ruined. So. Let me... Here we go. Perfect. I can just bring this up whenever I want now. So this is the Limitless in Imola. If you're limitlessing, just do this. And then the final driver is whatever you want. Whichever one you think is the best. Let me get the chat back up. Alright. What is team submissions? Top of the hour as always. So, let's do... F1 Predict. Why Red Bull over Merc? So the reason for Red Bull over Merc, again, I've already discussed this a bit, is because if you're going on Limitless, you want to differentiate yourself. That word is difficult for some reason. Differentiate yourself from the other managers or the other strategists, right? And if you look on the elite data, like 93.4% of the top 500 have McLaren Mercedes, and I think Red Bull is equally good as Mercedes this week. So I would go for Red Bull just to be differential from the others and have your Limitless be worth more. So let's do F1 Predicts. because we are... I feel like it's gonna get stressful in a bit. What am I doing? Here we go. Alright, so predict the podium for the Emilia Romagna Gran Premio del Made in Italy AWS, whatever it's called. I think you only get 5 points for Piastri win now. That's tragic. Should we predict something fun? I feel like it's gonna be a McLaren, another McLaren 1-2. I mean, Norris gets more points, so... Oh no, it's still the same points. Well, let's just do this then. And then the final one, Max Verstappen or George Russell. George Russell gives a hell of a lot more points. Let's do George Russell because he's always P3. Who will take pole position? I'm going to put it for Oscar Piastri. Who will qualify highest? I'm going to say Alex Albon. That gives more points as well, so I don't know why. How far will Kimi Antonelli get in qualifying? Imola's hometown hero, top 3, top 5, top 10. A lot of points predicting him outside the top 10. A lot of points predicting him top 3. I don't think he's going to be top 3. Although he was top 3 in Miami, I suppose. He wasn't super fast in practice. Actually, let's just predict him a cheeky top 3, huh? 25 points. I like the sound of that. And then he can drop down in the race. Who was at the fastest lap? You never... I mean, this is literally just guesswork. I'm going to say Max Verstappen. Who cares? Who will finish the race ahead? These are the drivers who haven't scored points. Let's just put it as Franco Colapinto because the Alpine looks relatively fast. And I think he's going to have a good race. How many classified finishers? Let's just slap it at 19. 1 DNF. How many overtakes will be completed? Okay, under. Easy under. Will it be a safety car? No. And then who will be ahead in team standings? Definitely Alpine. I feel like Alpine's going to score points. Alright. That's my F1 predicts. That's my F1 predicts. So suggesting or just giving idea? I don't think you should do... Did you join the Predict League? No. No, I don't think you should. I'm not going to limitless, but if you're limitlessing the team. Where are those likes? That's true, actually, Radio Paddock. We only have 38 likes with 200 people in here. I think that's quite shameful, actually. Does this give points, this quiz you're doing? Yes, it's like a separate game. On the, you just click the... When you're on F1 Fantasy, you just click the drop-down menu here. And you play the game, and you get points based on how well you scored. So, I forgot to do it in Japan, but... I mean, my Saudi points were pretty good. $54 likes. That's better. That's better. That's acceptable. Alright, any other questions from chat? Also, again, don't forget this, right? If you have Jack 2 and you have to sell him. Planko says, hi, I was not here for a long time. What's your take on Colapinto? Wait to see what he can do? No, I think you buy him immediately. I think he's way too good at the price. I think, again, right, we've been on this page a lot over this season. This budget builder site. This is post FP2 simulations. And we... so post FP2 simulations, calculating through race pace the likelihood of each asset increasing in price, and Colapinto is at the top of those standings. And then if you actually look at required points, Colapinto can't decrease in price, which is fantastic because he's 4.5 million, but he also only needs 5 or 6 points for a price increase. So I think Colapinto is a must buy, and like even if he scores below this, he's not going to drop in price, which is incredible when like every asset in the game is dropping in price. Where's tip of the week? Tip of the week will be either in an hour, or if we hit the super chat goal. So if you want it earlier, there's a donation goal for it. What's the maximum budget that you have? So on my other team, let me actually open a incognito tab so I can log into a separate account. I'm super bad at multitasking, so while I'm like signing in, I literally cannot talk about anything else. That's just not how my brain works. F1 Fantasy. Alright. Yeah, so this is my other account that's actually doing way better. I've activated wildcard here actually. And on this team, I have 112.3 million is the most I have. This is my richest team. This started after Australia, so it didn't do anything in Australia, and it's top 10k in the world. And yeah, I'm using a wildcard to switch to Albon, Stroll, Colapinto, Bortoleto. Any setup or thought on using autopilot this week or in Monaco? Not really. I think autopilot is mainly good when you have two premium drivers in your team, because like Alex Albon is never going to outscore Oscar Piastri unless like Oscar Piastri crashes, but you can't really predict that. So for that reason, I think you save autopilot until like one of the final races of the season when you have like Piastri plus Russell or like Lando plus Piastri or whatever. I'm currently 0.1 million off getting Stroll plus Colapinto for Doohan plus Behrman. Worth bringing in Albon plus Williams plus Colapinto instead. No, I would just do Doohan to Colapinto and like Behrman to... Because like, do you need Stroll, don't you, right? Do you actually need Stroll? I think you're being too greedy for Stroll here. I think you just do Doohan and Behrman down to Colapinto and Bortoleto because they're not decreasing in price, and then you just get Gasly next week because Gasly's gonna drop in price and you're gonna want Gasly over Stroll next week anyway. So I think actually you just ignore Stroll completely. If you had that 0.1 million, sure, you could get Stroll in, but like you don't have that. So just go for the two cheapest assets this week, and then next week you sell Bortoleto for Pierre Gasly when he's dropped in price and he looks like to increase. Yeah, 10k and 112 million is great. Yeah, I know. And this team did not score points in Australia, mind you. What chip will you use? On this team, I've used my wildcard, but on my main team, I'm not using anything. I'm sticking with what I've got. What will be the best wildcard team with 107.3 million, but with Max in it? You are one crazy, crazy guy. I don't actually know how to build a team with Max. I haven't tried that in so long. It's just not really been viable this season so far. Can you afford McLaren Mercedes plus this? Probably not, right? I mean, you can. So what? I'm on 110 million. You had what? 107. I mean, it's probably something like this. You really cannot go without the McLaren constructor. Maybe you do something like if you're wildcarding to get Verstappen in, maybe you actually do McLaren Williams, so you can actually upgrade some of these assets. All right, I'm gonna crazy cook here because you said you wanted Max Verstappen in here, but maybe you do something like this, right? And then boom, boom. This leaves you a lot of money in the bank, though. You can still upgrade something. Yeah. Maybe you do something like this. I don't know. What's the weather outlook for Sunday? That's a good question, actually, because last I looked at, I feel like we have a weekly sort of scare that we might get rain. So let me actually check that out. Imola weather Sunday. It's looking like there's no rain. Yeah, I mean it's gonna rain literally all of next week, but for now it looks completely fine. For now it looks completely fine. So maybe we'll just not have a rainy race for once, which I'll take some calm regular racing after the crazy start of the season we've had. Is it worth risking Limitless this week, even with Bearman Ocon budget building doesn't look great this week anyway, and people in my leagues are not paying attention to budgets? If people in your league are not paying attention to the budget and have like stuck with Carlos Sainz for the entire year, I think for sure you can pop the Limitless. But if you're like actually competing against people who kind of know what they're doing, I think you wait. Do you have a wildcard strat for the Limitless in Monaco setup? If I were to wildcard specifically to set up the Limitless in Monaco, I would do McLaren Williams. I would do Williams. I would do Piastri still, because Piastri is just insane. I would do Alex Albon. I would do Colapinto, actually. Can you afford, like, Russell with this? No, obviously not. I mean, you could theoretically do something like this, right? And do, like, Hadjar plus Bortoletto. So you could do something like this. But I think it's stronger to do this and this. And I mean, okay, so okay, if you're wild carding specifically to set up the Limitless in Monaco, that's what we're talking about here. This gives you 11.4 million after having these assets. I know it sounds crazy because obviously Gasly looks likely to decrease in price here, but he looks likely to increase next race, right? If we go to Budget Builder, Gasly is going to decrease this race, but if he just keeps it on track and doesn't DNF, once this minus 17 is gone, he looks really good for a price increase. So I think you kind of eat the price decrease in this race, and then he's going to increase in Monaco, and then you Limitless, and then you still have him in the team for after Monaco when you already want him. So since you have so much money in the bank after going for this sort of setup, I think you can afford to go for Pierre Gasly here. Can you actually get Tsunoda in here? No, not really. You would have to go without Stroll. For similar, like, Tsunoda's a similar sort of situation there, right? You could kind of do... could you do... yeah, you could do this. So I would consider getting like one asset that's going to decrease this race, but looks likely to increase in Imola. The problem is then, like, if they DNF in this race as well, like the Limitless is kind of off. But that's what I would do, Calendori. Carlos, thank you so much for the super chat, man. I greatly appreciate it. Why Russell? Because Russell is decent for price increases and, like, just good for points. And the reason why... let me bring up my other team again. Where is that? Here, this one. The reason why this team actually did so well early on is because I had... no, this is the Limitless. Yeah, I had George Russell plus Haas, and Haas scored so well in the early races, and George Russell scored so well for Mercedes that I gained budget, and like this actually outscored the meta team. So I do think like there's merit in going Piastri plus Russell when you're going for a cheap constructor. No problem, Kellery. Ed says, "Hey Rain, what do you think of Limitless in Monaco with Piastri, Albon, Colapinto, Bortoletto, Hadjar, Williams, McLaren?" I think it looks fine. I think it looks good. Hadjar, again, not fantastic, but I think it's decent. The problem, again, right, with Limitless in Monaco is that I think there's going to be so many assets that you kind of want to buy, right? Because Gasly is going to rotate out his minus 17, meaning that he looks really good for price increase. Tsunoda's going to rotate out his minus 17, meaning he looks really good for price increase. And then... yeah. So... I think these two drivers in particular are drivers that we might want to buy in Monaco when they're in their dip, because they look likely to bounce back up after Monaco, which other drivers definitely will not. So I just think Gasly and Tsunoda could be really, really good assets to buy in Monaco, and if you're limitlessing, you're sort of missing out, especially on Gasly, right? Tsunoda's a bit more difficult to fit in at his price point, but I think Gasly, who's likely to probably be like 7.6 million or 8.0 if he has a monster haul in, and like, you know, if Gasly scores 15 points and only gets a 0.2 million decrease in price. He's got an 18 pointer and a 15 pointer. He is going to shoot through the moon for price increases in Monaco and in Spain, and you're gonna want to have him for those 2 races, right? So if he only drops by 0.2 this race, I mean, he's gonna be must own in Monaco. Actually, just must own. What's your budget? My budget is 110.1 million. So I think that's about average. What do you think about Ferrari? Having in my team, I kind of want to get the -10 to swap. Yeah, I would actually consider doing the swap. They really don't look to be on the pace. And especially at like Imola, where overtaking is difficult, I just don't trust Ferrari, unfortunately. It sucks. I mean, I am a Ferrari fan. I literally have the shirt right here, but I can't wear it right now because, you know, we're so bad. What do you think about no negative in Monaco or in Brazil? I think no negative in Monaco is kind of overrated, if I'm honest. So you're not trying with RB? Not really, no. I'm gonna get Albon instead. That's sort of the thing is, like, I think a lot of people can afford to upgrade Mercedes to Red Bull, since you're doing this and doing. I've clicked on Franco Colapinto so many times to stream, but since you're doing this, you can afford to upgrade here. But I would rather do this upgrade. So that's the difference, Sanya. Is that I would rather go for Alex Albon than upgrade Mercedes to Red Bull. Yeah, I think it does make sense. I think, like, I'm almost down to lock this in now, because I've been since I built this sort of team structure out, I've been very tempted to stick with it. We're gonna do team submissions in 15 minutes. I think until then we will. Until then, we're going to do the tier list, the driver tier list, which we do every deadline stream. That is not what I wanted. That's my video from yesterday. It's unlucky. There we go. That's OBS. I'm horrible at streaming. Here we go. Zoom in. Do this. Perfect. Okay, so this was in Miami, obviously. Giga F was because he crashed and was not gonna start the sprint. This is obviously not the tier list. It changes every week based on, you know, what's happened previous weeks. Let me find an Italian flag somewhere among my saved images. Remove this. Pop this in there. Fantastic. Alright, we have no Giga F tier this week, so let's jumble them up. We're gonna do this a bit faster. I've already talked about most of the drivers today. So I want to get this done before team submissions, which is at, you know, just past top of the hour. Something like that. So why don't you guys start spamming me with some drivers, and I'll rank them. Alright, first one I said was Duan. Okay. Yeah, I've not got Colapinto in here, do I? Okay. Yeah, Duan is Giga F. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. Duan is Giga F. Let me get a Colapinto image. Where did I find all these images? It's on the F1's website, I'm pretty sure. F1 drivers 2025. Franco Colapinto. Something like that, maybe, and then we do this. Oh, we got him. Lovely. See, that wasn't so hard. And let's just... there we go. Alright, let's actually start it now that we have Colapinto in here. Ruben Barrichello. Okay, thank you so much, Fraser, for the super chat. I'm not gonna go look for a Ruben Barrichello image. And as he's currently not in F1 Fantasy, I think if you somehow manage to get Ruben Barrichello into your team, he will get a minus 20 points. I will put him in Giga F tier. Thank you so much. Alright, we have some people asking for Ocon. Where did Ocon go? I think Ocon is like the quintessential B tier. He's always decent for points. He's always decent for points. But I gotta do this every time. He's always decent for points, and as for a price increase, at least he looks relatively likely to not decrease the maximum. So you're not losing that much budget by having him, and maybe he can actually score like a 10-pointer. Because Ocon's just that guy that pops up with those kinds of results. So Ocon, I feel like Ocon is perfectly B tier. Alright, spam me some more. Go Tiffy, Giga F. What do you think of Kick Sauber plus Russell? And then I hate Kick Sauber as an asset. I'm sorry. I don't buy into the hype of them being 4.5 million. I'd rather just go for Williams if you're doing that. Lance Strolovic. Oops. Yeah, Lance Stroll is definitely a buyable asset this week. I would put him A tier. Now, I'm not expecting much from him points-wise, but again, at least he's not decreasing in price, which is more than I can say for most of these drivers. Behrman's been fantastic this year for points, but he's kind of like a must-sell. I wouldn't put him F tier because like he can still pop up with a result points-wise. But considering he's very likely to decrease in price for the next like 3 or 4 weeks, I think now is the perfect time to offload him and then buy him back once he's dropped in price again. Hulkenberg, again, not as good as Stroll for budget gains, and probably not as good for points either. He's better for budget gains than what Ocon is, but obviously doesn't have the same points potential. I think Hulkenberg is pretty perfectly in B tier here. Stroll or Albon. In terms of buying Stroll or Albon this week, I would rather go for Albon just for the points potential. I know that budget looks slightly better for Lance Stroll, but I also don't think Lance Stroll is hitting that 0.6 million mark. He would have to score 9 points. So, considering that I think Albon is going to score 10 points and Stroll is going to score like 4 points, and they're both going to increase 0.2 million, I think Albon is just better. I think Albon is an S tier driver this week, and I think if you can fit him in, if you have the budget to fit him in, I think you should. Why I jump from C to F, why no D or E? Because like C tier drivers are not bad, and then like everything below C is literally garbage sell. There's no reason to own them. So that's the reason we jump from C to F. There's no reason to have a D and E. Carlos Sainz. I think Carlos Sainz is again just forever stuck C tier. He needs to string like 2 or 3 good results together so you can start increasing in price, because right now he's still just dropping in price every race. So I don't know why you would have him over Albon. Hulk or Lawson. I've already done Hulk on the board here, but I can certainly do Liam Lawson. I think Liam Lawson is he F? I think he's worse than... How must-sell is he, actually, budget-wise? Budget-wise, he is... Giga must-sell. He's one of the most must-sell assets on the grid. Okay, yeah. We have our first F tier of the night. I apologize, Liam Lawson. Like, Behrman could at least pop up with points, which is why he's C, but... Yeah, no, Liam Lawson is absolutely terrible. Hadjar continues to be decent. I think Hadjar is just A tier. He's at a really good price point. He keeps performing well in the car, meaning that he actually, gets a couple of points, even though he had a really, really bad Miami Grand Prix F1 fantasy-wise. I think he's likely to, he's going to be on the edge of increasing or decreases over the next couple of weeks. But, like, even if he decreases, you're not going to lose that much. So I think Hadjar is perfectly fine and reasonable to hold. And considering at his price point, some people just kind of have to own him to be able to afford things like Albon and other things that you want in your team. Colapinto, I think Colapinto is, like, the must-buy assets this week. Colapinto is absolutely fantastic. He's definitely top of S tier for me. can't decrease in price. Looks good for price increases. I mean, what more do you want, realistically? Piastri is obviously also S tier. No question about it. I would actually, I mean, there we go. Bortoleto, him being 4.5 million is fantastic. He's obviously not going to increase in price, but like just him being 4.5 million makes him an A tier asset because he can't decrease in price. Quality A tier F tier when racing. I had just been decent this year. I don't know what you're talking about. I think his racing has not been that bad. I mean, to be fair, his quality has been way better. I mean, you're not wrong about that. Lando, I think, I mean, considering a lot of people in the top 500 actually run like a dual Lando plus Piastri team, I think Lando's definitely a viable pick. Sonoda. I think Yuki Tsunoda for this week is F tier. However, I do think from Monaco, he's probably like A. So for that reason, I'm gonna put in C because I can see someone buying him to prepare for limitlessness next week if they want his price gains next week. So I don't think it's that awful. Clearly means Max Verstappen. Karun Chandok, not on the grid, Giga F tier. I'm gonna stick him in A tier. I think there's gonna be a lot of A tier drivers this week. Russell is I'm sorry, Italy. I have to make. I can put the flag like down here. There's gonna be a lot of A tier drivers today. All right, I'm just gonna slam the rest ones out. Pierre Gasly this week is C tier. Good for points, not good for budget. Looks really. I mean, both Gasly and Tsunoda are going to increase next race. Kimi Antonelli. I don't think he's F, but I also don't think he's that great. Fernando Alonso is the other F tier driver. I think Fernando Alonso and Liam Lawson are must-sell assets. And then we have the two Ferrari boys, which it pains me to put them here, but like you kind of can't buy them when Piastri's the same price. Here we go. This is the definitive driver tier list for this week in Imola. What do we think? Do we disagree with any of these? B tier is quite empty, but maybe we need to downgrade Max and George to B tier, but I feel like they're perfectly fine A tier holds. Maybe they're not A tier actually. Maybe they're like B tier. Yeah, let's just even it out because it's gonna look better when everything is in the same place, right? This looks better, even though it's not completely straight, but whatever. Some of these are bigger than the others. Yeah, let's do this. I think this is more reasonable, actually. This is definitely more reasonable. Would you take -10 to change Ocon to Stroll? No. I would very, very rarely take -10s to change my B tier drivers. Like, do you think Stroll's gonna score 10 points this race? I would be surprised if he scored 6. Would you add constructors to the tier lists? I think constructors are less interesting to judge because I feel like they're very similar every race. I think the drivers change more often, whereas the constructors are always, like, almost always going to remain the same. So I don't really see the point in tier listing the constructors. It's just going to be McLaren, Mercedes, McLaren is S, and then we have like Williams and Red Bull and McLaren or Mercedes are A tier, and the rest are F. Even with budget considerations, yeah. Why Kimi is in B? No, Kimi is in C. I think Kimi like doesn't look fantastic for points, and also doesn't look great for budget. So -10 Ocon to Albon though. That one's harder. I would maybe do that. I would consider it, but again, I'm not super ecstatic about it. The thing is, you don't have to rush to get Albon now. You could, if you only have 2 free transfers, you could use 1 free transfer to just downgrade Alonso to Colapinto, call it a day, and then next race you can maybe afford to upgrade to Yuki Tsunoda after he's dropped in price, or you can get Gasly in there, who looks really good. Heatherbridge says, "Hey Rains, I was originally wanted to I was originally keep the basic but add Colapinto, Albon, Bortoleto, but can afford Albon. Next best option. I mean, next best option is Gasly next week. So what you do is you buy Stroll for this week, and then next week you sell Stroll for Gasly. So you do Colapinto, Bortoleto, Stroll, because Stroll is likely to increase 0.2 million and Gasly is likely to decrease 0.6, and then you sell Lance Stroll to Gasly next week. So that's what you do. Team submissions. It's team submissions. I cannot say it like that. That would be terrible. All right. Quick bathroom break, and I need to get some water because I forgot to do that at the start of the stream, and I can feel my throat closing up. So quick bathroom break. I'll be right back. And once we get back, we're doing team submissions. All right. So don't go anywhere. Like the stream if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. And again, don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. I know every time I do this, every time I go to the bathroom, I lose like 400 viewers. I don't know why. Just go to the bathroom yourself and then come back and join me for the stream, right? It's not that difficult. Alright, I've forgotten to do something really important. This is like YouTube streaming 101. And I keep not doing it because I'm terrible at this. Every time I forget this. There we go. A very important poll, guys. Very important poll. This is just how you play the YouTube streaming game. Let's see, can we hit 100 likes? We're on 87, 181 people in here, which means that like 100 of you have not liked the stream. Terrible. And I refuse to start team submissions until that is rectified. Your Piastri hoodie Autumns. Thank you. I bought it in Australia when I was there. Though I will say, no shade to Oscar Piastri. The quality of this hoodie, I mean, it's really soft. Like, the material, it feels really nice. but it's threading a lot. So I will say the quality doesn't seem to be the best. And considering it cost me like $100, that's kind of a sham. I'm not gonna lie. But it is one of the most comfortable hoodies I bought, right? So the is very soft on the inside. Definitely 10 out of 10 in comfort. But like actually quality, how long is this gonna last? I've already dropped one of these, so you can see, right? I've already dropped one of them. I don't know where it is. I think it went with the first wash. Alright. 101 likes. Let's do some team submissions. Basically, if you haven't been here before, team submissions is when we look at your guys' teams. And this always happens, by the way. There are going to be way more teams than I have time to rate. But don't be upset if I skip your team, because a lot of teams look very similar in this game. There's only so many combinations that are viable. And I would rather speak about 5 teams, but speak about each of them in depth, than go through everyone and say, oh, just do that, because that is not interesting, right? I want to discuss the different options that you guys have and see if that creates interesting patterns in my brain where I can sort of see future lines and future moves, future transfers and strategies that will pan out well. So if you want to leave your team submissions, it's probably too late for today, but in the future you can do so by joining the Discord. Link is at the bottom of the description, I'm pretty sure. And the only way to guarantee to get your team rated is by becoming a member. It's like $2 a month. And you can do so just right below. But for now, I don't think we have any member submissions. No, we do not. So, we have team submissions. Let me double check which is the first one. Here we go. Alright, again, I'm gonna disable streamer mode, so if you don't want your government name to be shown, you should change it on Discord. But I do want to see who I'm talking about. And again, I'm going to skip a few people. I apologize. You submitted yours on the... What does that say? I can't read it, that's too little. 15th? Well, this is on the 15th. This is the first one I have, so... Yeah, yours is below here. Thought you was a member, my bad? That's okay, you don't have to be a member. There's no obligation to become a member. It is, however, appreciated, as always. Dylan says, I'm going to wildcard this week due to the DNF's last race in Miami. I'm behind on points and budget at the moment, so I need to gamble a bit. At the moment, I'm looking into picking the risky team with Red Bull and Stroll. I think this is totally reasonable. I think wildcard is definitely a viable play. And, for example... Oh, Fraser, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it a lot. I think you should have an invite to the members only channel. If not, I'll fix it after the stream. And make sure you're added to the Discord. The Discord list. Yeah, so again, I've already spoken about that. I think wildcard is totally reasonable. And gambling, again, this is... Are you behind on budget? I guess you are, but not by much. You must be on like 109 million. I don't think there's a need to panic, necessarily. Though I do think the Stroll option is definitely viable. Red Bull Racing is interesting again. I think if you're behind on points, I think this is probably the way to go with Red Bull Racing. And then again, with Lance Stroll is a super easy switch down to Pierre Gasly, right? Which I think is a very valid option to go for next week. So you could do something like that. I think Nico Hulkenberg is interesting. I think Nico Hulkenberg might not... What's his... he's on a 9-pointer from round 6. So maybe if he scores decently well in Imola, he can be on for a price increase. So I do think that I like Team 1 if you're wildcarding, for sure. Lobo says, need help with my Team 3 team, or T3 team.
don't have wildcard, and don't want another minus 10 points. Left is what I started with, right is my 2 transfers. Thoughts, please? Alright, here we have Cheap Constructor. Like the Cheap Constructor for sure. But I agree that Williams is the better option. So what are you doing here? You have Piastri, Russell, which is interesting. Hadra, Bortoleto. Yeah, Behrman's got to go. I think that's totally reasonable. I mean, you don't have wildcard, don't want another minus 10 points. I think Behrman to Colapinto and Alpine up to Williams is a totally reasonable move in the position you're in. And I'm not a massive hater of the Piastri, Russell, Williams combo. So avoid Alpine, I agree. The Colapinto is fine, but for sure, getting Williams in looks definitely reasonable. All right, Typhox, love these sort of graphics. If I can click on it, oh, here we go. So current with 3 transfers, 110.4 million budget, slightly ahead of me. Same team, yes, same team as what I started with. So option 1 is safe. Sainz versus Hulk versus Ocon. If Hulk's and Albon instead of Stroll, it's an option. Option 2 is Williams plus Russell. Reason Williams seems the best of the midfield. Option 3, this is crazy. I don't see the point in this. I don't think Triple McLaren scores you enough points to warrant this. I looked into this last week. So I think this is crazy. I think this is more reasonable. For this, 3 free transfers. Why Sainz? Sainz is going to decrease in price. Maybe you're going for the points here, right? Caught up into Sainz, Stroll. I think it's decent. Yeah, you get Sainz and Stroll, I suppose, and then you can still Stroll for Gasly next week. But you're kind of stuck with Sainz for a while then if you do this. I think Sainz is fine. I'm not hating it too much. Hi, baby. I was just thinking points versus budgets. Yeah, that's valid. I think Sainz points wise is definitely really good. And I mean, realistically, we just need him to string 3 results together and just not DNF every 3 weekends. It's actually pissing me off. He's gonna keep dropping in price, by the way. Like, he's gonna go down to like what, 8 point something million. Crazy. You know, imagine Sainz in like Silverstone. I think Sainz is going to be on literally every team in Silverstone. I'm not even joking. Let's see. 415 or 415 Racing. Still climbing out of the Gasly choice in Saudi. And last week, not going as suspected. Not sure which way to go here. Thoughts, anyone? Alright, this looks relatively standard meta, right? It's similar to the team I have, only I have Alonso instead of Bortoleto. Which, I mean, you having Bortoleto here is better than having Alonso, for sure, because you're in less of a hole. I don't know if you have 2 or 3 transfers here. I think that matters a ton. But I think the main thing here is Behrman has got to go, right? Behrman has got to go. I think Colapinto is the obvious replacement. It gives you a lot of budget to play with. Ocon doesn't have to go, but Ocon can go to someone like a Stroll if you want like that 0.2 million price increase almost guaranteed. And when I say guaranteed price increase, I mean bar DNF always. Like a DNF will always mess you up. New sim out? Oh, interesting. That's fun. That's fun. All right, we'll do that as soon as we're done with this. Actually, it's going to impact my decisions of this, so we're going to look at that first. We're going to go back to team submission, so don't worry if I didn't get to your team yet. I will definitely get back to that, but yeah, I think, I mean, Ocon to Stroll for 1 week, and then you can sell Stroll to Gasly. I think that's a reasonable option, and then you can get Behrman out for Colapinto. Let's go to all of our favorite websites. Again, if you want the premium features, you have code right next to me here. Team calculator. Post FP3. Post FP3. Nice. All right. Let's do. So this is what the premium features allows. Basically, you can just input your team. So I'm just gonna click my team 1. Give me a second. Allow. I am logged in. A sec. That was not planned. Alright. They're favoring Red Bull. They did so earlier as well, so I'm not super surprised. Alright, team. So this is what premium features allows, right? You can click your team 1, team 2, and team 3, and just like straight up check them, and it automatically inputs the budget and everything, and it shows you the best switches to do for certain calculations, right? So It favors Red Bull slightly more than previously by about 5 points now, right? 5.5 points. So this is sorted by points scored. Let's actually sort by budget gain, and let's remove all of the cheap constructors down here at the bottom because I don't want to see them, since I'm not likely to run with them. What? It wants me to go Ferrari? Are they out of their minds? What is going on here? It's because they want Albon and Stroll so badly. I had not anticipated that. Alright, let's just put McLaren in there because there's no reason I'm selling McLaren. There's no way I'm selling McLaren, right? Yeah, do not go Ferrari. Yeah, that is absolutely crazy stuff. I don't know what they're smoking. I mean, McLaren's also increasing. I think it's because they want Albon and Stroll in the team. I think that's the reason, like, at my budget, obviously I'm not doing a -20 for this either. That's absolutely bananas. But they want me to pick, if you want to actually go full out budget building without going for any of the cheap constructors, they want you to get both Albon and Stroll in. And I cannot afford that at 110.1 million with McLaren in there. But I'm going to have McLaren in there. So the actual best team, and again, this is the team I'm going for. I've all but decided already that this is the team I'm going for, and points-wise, it's 195. If we actually sort by points scored, it's not that much worse. And in this team, I have Alonso and Lawson, who both look super likely to decrease in price, by the way. So, and Sainz, who looks likely to decrease in price. So, I would happily gain the budget increases or the budget not decreases, and skip out on Sainz, Lawson, and Alonso, and lose out on 10 points. Like, whatever. Go use the code so you can buy me dinner. True. And also, I mean, you actually just get good stuff. And the chat crashed. I feel like... Can I just talk some smack on YouTube streaming for a bit? This always happens. Like an hour... like clockwork... An hour and 20 minutes into the stream, the chat crashes. Every single time. Without fail. And then I have to set it up again, which is really annoying. Because I have the thing. Let me actually just... because I never get it exactly the way it was before. Like my pop-up in bottom left. Which I really enjoy because I like being able to like show which comment I'm talking about, right? Alright, enough smack about YouTube streaming. YouTube streaming has its advantages, but that's one of the major disadvantages of YouTube streaming. The chat is just not fantastic. And nothing against you. Like, the people in chat, great people. The actual chat system itself, kind of dog, if I'm honest. Yeah, do not go Ferrari. Would you prefer Hadra or Stroll for the next 2 races? I mean, they're very different price points. I would probably... If I could like magically give myself an extra 5 million, I would go for Stroll. Will you go for Red Bull? I will not go for Red Bull, no. I will go for Alex Albon. I will go for this team. Are exciting? You're taking the -10 to get... No, I don't need to take the -10. I only need 3 transfers to get to this team. Albon. Yep. Albon's big here. I think a lot of people are going to go for Albon. Alright, let's get back to team submissions. I don't think there's anything new from the post FP3 sims that I have. But by the way, if you guys have noticed anything about these new FP3 sims, I mean, obviously it favors Red Bull slightly more over Mercedes than it did previously, right, points-wise. So the points are slightly different, but overall, like, this is still the same. So I don't see any massive differences. So let me know if you guys notice anything simulation-wise. If, like, I don't know, say Antonelli looks absolutely terrible for some reason. What's the highest budget now? The highest I've seen is 114 million. Something like that.
just gonna respond to my mom. There we go. Gotta prioritize my mother. Would you take a -10 to get rid of Behrman, Russell, and Haas for Colapinto, Stroll, and Red Bull? I feel like that's a reasonable -10. I don't hate it. It's one of the better -10s I've seen. If I say that much, right? Like, usually I'm very anti taking points hits because the -10 points is a lot of points. It's half a DNF, right? But in terms of actual -10s I've seen this week, I think it's relatively reasonable. -10 to get the Albon set up. The thing is, like, I don't think it's worth. Say you're on my exact team, or some version of my team. Maybe you have Bortoleto instead of. Oh well, if you have Bortoleto, you don't need it. But like, say you have Lawson instead of Alonso or whatever. I don't know if it's worth, because like, look at Albon. Albon's pretty good to get 8.6 points, and it's not like you're gaining massive budget with Alex Albon. Like, he has to struggle to get a 0.2 million increase. So you can definitely move to this team over 2 weeks' time. And what I mean by that is that you can this week, literally, if you only have 2 free transfers, just sell Behrman and Alonso to Colapinto and Bortoleto. They're not going to decrease in price at all. You keep Hadjar and Ocon. Ocon is only going to decrease 0.2 million. That's fine. That's not the end of the world. And then after this race, right, then you can sell Ocon either to Gasly if you want Gasly instead of Albon, or you get Albon next race, right? And I think that's a completely reasonable play to make. And it does save you 10 points. Tip of the week in 10 minutes. Tip of the week in 10 minutes. Would you do Stroll 1 week? I think, okay, so let's actually talk about Stroll now, because I've got a lot of questions about it, right? I have three free transfers. Try saying that 3 times fast. I have 3 free transfers, so I can just get to Albon now. Another reasonable play to make, right, is you can get Lance Stroll this week plus Colapinto, right? This is a completely reasonable thing, right? You get Lance Stroll, you get Colapinto. Lance Stroll gets a 0.2 million price increase. Then next week, Lance Stroll down to Pierre Gasly is like the easiest move of all time, because Pierre Gasly, if we check the budget builder, let me remind you, Pierre Gasly is dragging that massive -17 from round 5, his DNF. And when that's gone, he has this big 18-pointer, and he's going to be down at like 7.6 million. And I think Gasly's going to be one of the few assets over the next 4 races that's actually going to increase multiple times. So I think Gasly is going to be one of the hottest assets to own. Monaco, Spain, and Canada. So running Stroll for 1 race and then selling him to Gasly, I think is a fantastic strategy. And I think a lot of people should do that, especially if you can't afford Albon. In fact, I actually think it's probably the most optimal thing to do if you can't afford the Albon price. I think you just go for Stroll now for 1 race, and then you sell it to Gasly next race. And I'm lucky enough that I can maybe, if I'm lucky, afford Albon and Gasly. But, everyone isn't going to be that good. Is it time for Carlos? I think it's time for Carlos in, like, Spain. Yeah. Home race, maybe he can do something. Maybe cheeky driver of the day. For now, I think Sainz is an avoid, unfortunately. He just can't stop DNFing and ruining his scores. We can also sell Ocon next week then. Yep, true. But Gasly will be good only for Monaco? Not necessarily. It depends on what he scores this week. Albon over Ocon, I can afford it. Yes, I would definitely go for Albon. Oh, welcome, Carlos, by the way. Welcome. Team submissions. Yes, I forgot. Let's go back. Okay, let's raffle through a couple of these before we do Team of the Week. That's the main thing we have left. Have I forgotten anything? Those of you who are always here, also, can you hear my Discord beep multiple times? I'm very sorry if that's the case. I just realized that I'm not on Do Not Disturb. I'm so unbelievably sorry that you've heard Discord, because I know how annoying that is, because you probably thought it was your Discord beeping multiple times. Whoops. That definitely, you've definitely heard that this entire time, right? I'm a terrible streamer. Yes, I was checking mine. Oh, this, I was hearing it, but I forgot that I had music on, because usually I mute all the sounds from my computer, right? I've just recently started actually having music in the background of my streams because I enjoy it. Oh, dude, no, actually I am, because that is my biggest pet peeve. I hate when I hear the Discord sound off of like other streamers and videos, and I just did it myself. I'm used to it on like 200 Discords. Now that is unhinged behavior. You need to go and mute all of them. What are you doing? All right, let's actually go to Discord and do some team submissions. All right, Celtic. My team, wildcard 1, wildcard 2. Ooh, we have wildcards. Lawson, Hajar, Berman, Ocon. I mean, I would, that's definitely a reasonable wildcard to do. Albon, Hajar, Stroll, Colapinto. Damn. I wish I could afford this. Oh, it's Williams. Never mind. Oh, no wonder you can afford it. 6.2 million in the bank. You can know that. I wouldn't do this now. Definitely consideration for a future. Williams team. I'm assuming you're setting up for Limitless then. Yeah, I think this is fine to set up for Limitless. For sure. If Limitless is what you're going for in Monaco, I think this looks good. Alright, but again, I don't think you need to wildcard, but it looks like you've already activated it. So, at this point, you might as well just shoot it, right? Can we discuss Red Bull's possible differential for next 2 races? I've discussed that multiple times throughout this stream, so I'm not going to do that again. What's the plan for budget here? Do I take -10 for Williams, Albon, Stroll, Colapinto? Or keep Hajar? 110.7 budget right now. 110.7 budget is really, really good. I don't think you need to rush budget here. You have 16.3 million in the bank. You can definitely disperse that slightly better. With 3 free transfers, I mean, Behrman is the only asset you actively have to sell. So I would do Behrman and Haas to double Williams, right? You do Williams plus Albon if you want to keep budget building, right? I'm assuming this is your budget building team, because you're running Haas. So you do Behrman and Haas to Williams, Albon, and then you can sell Ocon or Bortoleto to Colapinto, something like that. And you don't do the -10. I would just not do the -10. My team got skipped. Sorry, that's how it goes sometimes. Dvala, planning Limitless in Monaco, original team, Piastri. Alright, let's see. Yeah, this is what I've talked about previously with Yuki Tsunoda, getting him already. I think that's totally reasonable. I've already discussed this. I'm 99% set on this. I mean, this is very meta. Looks good. Here we have a lot of things going on from Salima. Current team cost cap 111.9 million with 2 transfers. It's a lot of transfers. We have... Most of this looks relatively meta. You have McLaren, Mercedes on all of them. I think at this point, it's really just what you prefer. Colapinto's in on all teams. The only real difference is like who you are accompanying with them. What's this? And who you're selling, right? I think you need to just prioritize who you're selling. I think Behrman is the one that needs to go, mainly, because you're looking at this team. Ocon is only decreasing 0.2 million. Bortoleto is a fine hold. Hajar's a fine hold. You need to sell Behrman, so you need to consider what's the best team I can build when I sell Behrman. I think that's just the main thing here, Salima, is that even though like Albon and Colapinto looks fun, I would rather keep Bortoleto and do like Albon, Colapinto. Yeah, so I think 4 is 4 is literally the team I'm going for, so I'm going to be biased towards that, obviously, but. I think the main thing for you, no matter which one of these 3 you go for, is that I prefer the one where you sell Behrman. And then we have a few from in the stream. This looks all like meta, so I've already discussed that. Yuki Tsunoda, I think, again, is really fun. Can get you some points. Is going to decrease in price, so he's going to be cheaper in Monaco. I think I prefer to go for the more safer option in Albon, but I think
a punt on Sonoda is definitely viable. Here we have a bunch of things. Took a DNF battering last week, so really cooking it up. Yep, I've seen that before. Alright, we have a lot of different constructors here. Now, again, I'm just not a fan of Kick Sauber in general. As an option at 4.5 million, I think you should rather go for something like Colapinto plus Bortoleto if you want to go for 4.5 million options. I don't hate this, but it depends on what you're doing with 3 free transfers. Suck up the relative being point budget gain limited over the next few races. 2 is a logical choice. 3rd and 4th is winging it for sure. Yeah, I mean this is just the easy choice. So I would probably do that even though it's boring. Am I locked in? I am not locked in. I'm gonna lock in after the tip of the week. Alright. Sorry I couldn't get to all the teams, guys. That's usually how it goes, but hopefully you've heard enough throughout the stream to sort of apply it to your own teams. A lot of people are on the McLaren Mercedes team, and I'm going to just show you what I'm likely to do with my team before we move into tip of the week. So yes, I have decided on my team. So again, this is the team I had in Miami. I got hit by multiple DNFs, and I'm not happy about it. Alonso and Berman are the must-sells. I'm also not a massive fan of keeping Ocon in here. I'm a really big fan of Albon this week. I think Albon's stock is on the rise. Not necessarily price, but you know he keeps scoring double-digit hauls, and I'm a fan of the 10-pointers, and I want them to continue. So I'm getting Alex Albon in here, and I'm also just juicing it up with the cheapest assets available, which is Franco Colapinto and Gabriel Bortoleto. This gives me 2.5 million in the bank, and the plan with this is if Isaac Hadjar increases in price or just decreases less than what Pierre Gasly does, I can in Monaco upgrade Hadjar to Pierre Gasly because I have 8 million in the bank here. Gasly is currently 8.2. If Gasly decreases 0.6 and Hadjar decreases 0.2, I can afford to do this transfer in Monaco, and Gasly looks really good for price increases in Monaco. So this is the team I'm doing. Colapinto and Bortoleto cannot decrease in price. Albon looks really good for points. So this is likely what I'm doing. And again, I think you can definitely go for a Stroll in here and then switch Stroll to Gasly in the future. I think Stroll is nothing but a one-race punt, realistically. And I wouldn't expect many points from Stroll, but you can probably expect a 0.2 million price increase from Lance Stroll. So let's do everyone's favorite. Thank you so much for the hype on the stream, as always. A lot of people in here. We're at 136 likes. Can we get that to 150 before tip of the week? Let's put on some more hype music and up the volume slightly. And get your predictions in chat. What is tip of the week? Bortoleto over Hall? Yes, I'm going Bortoleto over Hulkenberg. I don't just trust Hulkenberg, and if I get Hulkenberg now, I would have to sell it to Bortoleto to afford Gasly next race anyway. And say if like Albon DNFs, I would want to sell Albon as well. So I'd rather just get Bortoleto in now and just, you know, be sure that he's not going to decrease in price. Hadjar or Bortoleto? I would rather have Bortoleto, honestly, on my team. Tip of the week, tip of the weeks. Joining late but loving the deadline stream. Thank you so much, Derek. Any team you're excited to see their performance after the upgrades? I'm excited to see if Red Bull can really bring it to McLaren. I suspect not. I'm hoping Williams are good. It would be fun to see Alex or Sainz get a podium. That would actually be really, really exciting. And then also, just from what I've seen a bit on the Alpine upgrades, I mean, Gasly's just such a good driver. So, big question for me this week is Lawson versus Alonso. I mean, this was my tier list. I put both of them in F tier, so that will tell you all you need to know about that. I think they're both equally terrible to have this week, just because they're both guaranteed to decrease in price. No shame, though. No shame, though. All right. 148 likes,
2 more likes, and we do tip of the week. I will say I am getting better typing with mouse. I guess practice does make perfect. Oh, by the way, while I'm doing this, if any of you are Swedish, I will be talking F1 Fantasy at Bryggeri Ångkvarn in Uppsala tomorrow, an hour before the race. So at 2 p.m. local time, I will be chatting F1 Fantasy for like half an hour before the like official pre-race talk begins. So if you live in Sweden or if you're around the Stockholm area tomorrow, you know, it's just an hour train up to Uppsala, and pop in and say hi. I will be, you know, chatting F1 Fantasy, some beginner stuff, obviously, because there's going to be people there who've never heard of F1 Fantasy. But then also going into just some general strategy stuff, and then taking some questions at the end, and then watching the race. So if you want to watch the race with me tomorrow and you are in Sweden, definitely make sure to stop by Bryggeri Ångkvarn. I posted about it on my Twitter. I think it's pinned on my Twitter even, so do that. Alright. Thank you so much for the 150 likes. So, Rain Fantasy, number 1 tip of the, that is not an H, week. We got some predictions in chat, and I think a lot of them are correct. I try to make tip of the week exciting. Swedish base in Gothenburg, too far away. Yeah, that's a bit too far away. Prepare to buy Gasly in Monaco. Would it be bad to have Gasly this week? I don't think it's bad to have Gasly this week. Just know, like, you could get him. What's the percentage? Not 10%. Is it 10%? No, it's a bit less. It's like, you can get him like 8% off next week. But I don't think it's bad to have him this week. He looks fast this week. Tip of the week, prepare to buy Gasly in Monaco. I think that's a good tip, but it's not tip of the week. But yeah, sometimes it's just very, very simple. And again, I apologize for being so boring, but I feel like 50% of the time my tip of the weeks are completely outrageous, and then 50% of the time it's just that is not pink. How colorblind am I? That's better. What? It looks so much... Okay, that's better. Yeah, well, let's just take that one. Colapinto. And let's just, I don't know, draw an Argentinian flag, I suppose. Yeah. And then a little sun. Is that the Argentinian flag? I feel like that's very offensive. But I feel like that's offensive, but yeah, I mean, it's just called right there. What a flag. As you can tell, I'm an artist. An artist at work. Yeah, I mean, Colapinto is just kind of must own this week. He's the best cheap asset for price increases. And why is the sun between two buns, dude? Because I couldn't draw with a white pen. Like that wouldn't add anything. Like, look, I'm drawing with white. Like, all right, I made a white square now. You happy? You're only offending Argentina. It's fine. I don't want to offend Argentina, man. You guys are hardcore. No offense. I literally just made a video about Colapinto joining, and someone in the comments started flaming me for being racist. I just said that, you know, it's a bit harsh on Duan only getting 6 races. I'm excited for Colapinto, man. I like Colapinto. Colapinto's cool. He's funny. I just thought it was funny. I just made a video talking about it, and then someone was super mad about it in the comments. You guys are intense, okay? But I appreciate that. Yeah, Argentina social media. Yeah. Just, you know,
I know you guys like being at a 12, but maybe, you know, just go down to 11. Alright, let's actually make my transfer so I don't forget, because that would be a travesty. It's only 20 minutes to the deadline. Everything is correct here. Yeah, Colapinto in, Bortoletto, Albon. There we go. Yep. 3 free transfers. Let's take a quick little screenshot of this. I think we'll also lower the volume slightly on the music. Back to this one. Confirm changes. Alright, let's quickly, again, ignore these teams. These teams are terrible, but we gotta make changes on them as well. Otherwise, you know, there will be even more terrible. Can I get... I can't get Albon here. Yeah, this is the Stroll team. This is gonna be the Stroll team. Because the budget is worse on this team. I will save a transfer with this team, though. And then, I mean, this team is... What are we even doing? Not even gaining budget. Omega lol. The goal with this team is now just to get as much budget as possible. I'm never picking a premium constructor on this team. We're just doing a -10. Who cares? Actually, I don't care about points. I'm gonna get as little points as possible on this. I'm just gonna get... What's the best cheap... kick, lol. Am I actually getting kick? After talking smack about them. I mean, if I intentionally tank this team, it'll be funny. So, you know. -30 points. Easy. Do I have wildcard on this team? I think I've already used it. No. Oh, no. Oh, no. Ignore this team. Ignore this team, dude. This team is like... It has been so bad all year, so... It's fine, it's fine. Alright, just look at this one. This is the good team. This is the good place. This is the good place. Actually, if I'm gonna be honest, where is it? Where did it go? This is the good place. This is the actual good team. Hold up. Have I made my transfers here? Just making sure. My team, race weekend. I have done my transfers, yeah. So wildcard is activated on my best. This is actually my best team. I mean, look at the budget. Albon plus Stroll. Ooh wee. Imagine being this rich. Look how rich I am. 112.3. Eesh. Those of you who are at like 113 million, you guys must be like top 5k. Surely. Or else you've gone like pure budget building and have like no points. It's either or. But like, if you're above 113 million, I mean, this is the team to go for. Like, this team is absolutely bonkers. If you can even go further and you're like at 114 something and you can get Hadjar instead of Bortoletto, oh, baby. Now we're talking. Hulkenberg or Bortoletto? Join the Ferrari. Yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, guys, if you haven't, make sure to join the Ferrari 2025 Mini League. I'm assuming there are prizes. You can only join with one team, but make sure you do that. So you just go to leagues, and then you join it, and maybe you can win something. But yes, I have joined the Ferrari League. Alright, seeing as we have 15 minutes left to the deadline, I will just take questions from chat. We've already done most of the team submissions, so at least those that stood out. Do you think a -10 hit is worth it to get Ocon out? No. It's only 0.2 million. And Ocon could definitely come away with a 10-pointer from nowhere. What are your limitless plans? So currently, my limitless plan is to... If this goes really well, say Albon gets a monster haul, Hadger scores well and increases in price. Colapinto scores well and increases in price. I could limitless in Monaco. If it doesn't look amazing and, I want to get Gasly in, stuff like that, maybe get a cheeky Tsunoda in, the plan then is to wait for Spa, watch the Spa sprint qualifying, assess, does it look good for a limitless? If not, I just pop it in Hungary, no matter how good or bad it is for my budget. So for me personally, Hungary is like my final call, because after that I think it's too late in the season to do it. So I will check Monaco and Spa, and if neither of them look good, I'm just using it in Hungary. That's my limitless pass. Any tip this week? Yeah, Colapinto. And a very badly drawn Argentinian flag. Anyone have a trying to join private leagues? You can't join mine. You should be able to. Mine should be open for the rest of you. I have seen though that like sometimes it doesn't add you to it until after the points are calculated. So if you join a league now, you actually won't see yourself in the league until after the next weekend is concluded, because that's when the points are calculated. So it could be that, but it could also be something else. But it's not something I've heard of being an issue. I mean, the website is buggy sometimes, so sometimes you just have to try again. Bortoleto can't go down in price? Exactly. Yeah, alright. Why are you taking Bortoleto over Hulkenberg? Bortoleto can't go down in price. That's the exact reason. And also because, like, if I go for Hulkenberg instead of Bortoleto here, I can't afford to go Hadjar to Gasly next week without selling Hulkenberg to Bortoleto. So I'm saving a transfer by getting Bortoleto now. That's the entire idea. If I had infinite transfers every week, I would have Hulkenberg this week for sure. Like, actually, no questions asked, I would. But just because I know I'm gonna want to get Bortoleto next week anyway, because I really want to do Hadjar to Gasly, if I'm not limitlessing, that's why I'm getting Bortoleto. Sometimes you gotta think 2 or 3 races ahead what you want to do, and that's why I always do. Like I always look a few races ahead, and a lot of people kind of meme on me because like I say like, oh, I'm gonna get Gasly next week if this and this happens, and then like 3 of my drivers DNF and all the plans go out the window, and that's why we play the game. But you still gotta have a plan. Like if everything goes the way I want it to, next week, I can already tell you don't even have to come to the deadline stream, but obviously still do, because, we're having a fun time here. I can already tell you, if everything goes my way, and I don't feel like limitlessing, my transfer next week will be Hadjar out for Gasly, and that's it. Would you bring in Stroll or Albon for budget gain? Yes. Well, I prefer Albon because, listen, do we think Stroll's getting 9 points? Let's actually poll chat. I gotta end the first one. Lol. End poll. Start a poll. Will Stroll score 9 points or more in Imola? Fantasy points or more in Imola. Yes and no. Alright, polls up. Because what I think is going to happen, I think Stroll's going to get like 5 points. And I think Albon is going to get like 10 points. So Albon's going to score more points than Stroll, and they're both going to increase 0.2 million. That's honest to God, that's what I think is going to happen. Elliot says, High Rain got 5.7 in the bank, but don't want to bleed budget with Ocon or Sainz or Bea, etc. Am I being paranoid? No, I think it's completely fine. Honestly, holding budget currently is completely viable, especially considering Gasly's going to be viable next week, Tsunoda's going to be viable next week. I think Science is going to be viable in a couple races time, probably around like Spain. Yeah, I think it's completely reasonable to have a lot of budget in the bank. It also makes you very flexible for final fixed place. I will say that. You don't always need to use all the budgets. I mean, that's what I'm doing now. Like, theoretically, I could have gone for Hulkenberg over Bortoleto, but I'm not doing that because I'd rather just keep Bortoleto and not lose any budget on him. Because, like, is Hulkenberg getting 5 points? In Imola? Watch him qualify P14 and then just stay there, right? 2 points. Decreases 0.2 million. Yeah. Overwhelming majority says Stroll will not get 9 points in Imola. 82%. I will say, I know 18% of you are Stroll believers, but usually when I do these polls of asking like, is X or Y better, or is X or Y gonna happen, the like biggest split I've seen most of the time is like 70-30, but usually it's closer, way closer. It's like 60-40 or below, or closer, I suppose. I think this is a pretty resounding no. Stroll is not going to hit 9 points. A lot of things need to happen for Stroll to hit 9 points in Imola, with so few overtakes, especially since the car. I mean, there are upgrades on that Aston Martin, but I haven't seen anything of that in practice to make me believe that they're going to actually perform with those cars. So, will Stroll increase 0.2 million? I think yes. Literally guaranteed, bar DNF. Again, I feel like I have to like put an entire bar down at the bottom of my screen that just says, if I use the word guaranteed, I mean guaranteed bar DNF. Will Stroll increase 0.2 million? Yes. But will Albon increase 0.2 million? I think also yes. I think Albon will definitely score more than 6 points if everything goes as planned. So, for budget, to answer your question then, let's just end the poll. Where was it? Now, I can't find the question now, but we're fine, right? Oh, here we go. Daniel asked the question. I would actually bring an Albon if you can afford it. That's the thing. But if you can't afford it, I think Stroll is completely reasonable. I don't think Stroll is a bad option this week. Far from it. I think Stroll is a good option this week, even. Where did I put him in my tier list? Yeah, I put him A tier. Top of A tier, even. It's just I think Albon's better. For multiple reasons. Let's see. Hulk or Hajar? I prefer Hajar. Do I though? I mean, Hulk is just uninteresting as an option, really. I think it's close. Maybe it is Hulk because he's on a 9-pointer from the previous week, so he's actually like slightly better in Monaco. Is the team locked in? Yeah, my team is locked in. But even with this 9-pointer, 5 points is not guaranteed for Hulkenberg. Are you planning Hulkenberg for Limitless? Yes, I am. Is it smart to wait that much? I think it's one thing that's kind of overplayed is like the value of wildcarding, or no wildcarding, limitlessing early. It is definitely like mathematically slightly better, but I don't think the difference is that big. I mean, the main thing is just hitting good delta, and I mean that's also sometimes just straight up down to luck. So I think it's fine to wait that long. It's not. I mean, you should have used it in Japan or in Saudi. So far this season, that is like the clear. I think Miami Limitless users got away very, very lucky because of all the DNFs that happened to very highly owned assets such as Behrman and Bortoleto and Lawson and Alonso. Like a lot of drivers that a lot of people owned. If say just one of those drivers had DNF'd and not all of them in Miami, the Limitless in Miami would have actually been disastrous. So, I think the Limitless should have been used in Japan or in Saudi this year, but that's obviously too late for me now. So, I'm just not sure I trust Monaco because all that's required is one of my 5 drivers to have a howler and put it in the wall, and then I'm over. Like
if one of your premium drivers DNFs on the Limitless, you just put the Limitless in the bag, bro. All right. Sainz or Stroll? I would actually pick Stroll. I would pick Stroll for 1 week and then sell to Gasly and then prepare for Sainz in the future once he's down to like 8 million. Where did they take a -10 to have Albon and Hadjar instead of Ocon and Stroll? No. Because Stroll and Ocon are not bad options. I would keep Ocon and Stroll and just move about next week. Leclerc or Antonelli? I've not seen anyone ask that. I feel like this year. I think that's the first time I've gotten that question, so I'm quite impressed. Pucci. The answer is neither, probably. But if I had to pick one, it's probably Antonelli because he might get driver of the day at his home race. Rain, would you go Piastri plus Kimi with 114 budget? Or would you rather go Stroll plus Albon? I would rather go Stroll plus Albon because Kimi looks like it's a decrease in price. I would go Stroll plus Albon for at least like 2 more races. I talked about it in one of my videos this week. I can't remember which one it was, but I said that like the next 4 races are going to be critical for how we play the budget game. Because after this, like once we get into the European, like proper European circuit, like after Canada, when we get to Silverstone in Austria, I think it's very possible after a lot of price decreases that we can have 3 really good 4.5 million assets, such as like Alonso at 4.5 million plus Colapinto plus Bortoleto at 4.5. And then we can just rock with like Piastri, maybe even stretch to Russell territory. If we play the next 4 races correctly. So I would definitely do Stroll plus Albon. What's the best lineup for Limitless in Monaco? Wildcard activated. If you have wildcard activated, you have 3 minutes. If you know that you want to Limitless in Monaco, I would go for Williams, a Williams build, right? And I discussed this briefly. Let's just make sure that these transfers are locked. Yeah, all right. So, if you're on a wild card this week, infinite transfers, and you're preparing for a Limitless next week, you do McLaren plus Williams, and then you do Piastri, Albon, Colapinto, you do Lance Stroll. And then you have 11.4 million, and here you can do one of 2 things. You can either just put Bortoleto in there and whatever, but I would actually pick one of the drivers that's going to decrease this race and then increase in the next race that you actually want. Such as a Pierre Gasly. So I would probably do something like this. Hope Pierre Gasly scores a lot of points for you this week on your thing, on your wildcard, and then next week, and he obviously decreases in price this week, but next week in Monaco, when you're Limitless, you hope that he increases in price. So this is what I would do if I'm on a wildcard and you know you want to Limitless next week. I did lock in my team, yes, Nico. And this you can do on all budgets, pretty much. This I have 110 million, so you could definitely afford this. And again, Gasly could be, you could do Tsunoda in here, like instead of, you could do like this plus whatever. You can find different constellations here, but I would pick 3 drivers that look really good for price increases, and then, you know, I mean, you can even maybe do the Hulkenberg, I don't know. Not what I'm doing, but it is something you could do if you know. But I would only do that team if you're guaranteed to Limitless in Monaco, and then you actually kind of have to commit to it. You know, unless like 3 of your drivers DNF, then you know, unlucky. 1 minute to the deadline. So final question: Had of Bortoleto for the next 2 weeks? Bortoleto. Easy question. Alright, I'm going to stick around and watch qualifying right here. So if you want to watch it with me, you're very welcome to do so. I will put F1 dashboard up so we can sort of follow along and watch it together. I will be slightly less hyper and screaming into the mic. I will be more mellow. I'm gonna check my phone a bit. I got absolutely spammed by messages during the stream. I don't know, something must have happened. Thank you so much for being here during the stream. Again, if you're in Sweden or around the Stockholm region, in Uppsala tomorrow, I posted about it on my Twitter. I will be at Bryggeri Ångkvarn talking about F1 Fantasy. So if you want to meet up, you can go there. You might have to book a table if you want to actually have some food. And not just drinks, but there will be drinks, obviously, and we'll watch the race. So, let's see, yeah. That's about it for this stream, or this portion of the stream. I'm gonna watch the qualifying live. Let me actually tweet out the final team, which is locked now, I believe. Yes, it is. Interesting. Good stream, good stream, good stream. So we're gonna make some tweets, be a bit more low-key. I actually need to get the... Alright, we're gonna have to turn off the music because I wanna watch with sound, and I'm not tech-savvy enough to start separating sounds and only have Spotify playing in the background for you guys. So I will just mute my desktop audio and log in to my F1 TV here. Ba-ba-ba. Let's see. Da-da-da-da-da. Where is qualifying? There we go. Watch live. That was super loud. Okay, there we go. Obviously can't show that. I would get banned. So we're gonna watch this. Yeah, I'm just gonna tweet out my team for those who are active on that weird website. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Perfect. All right, let me pin that. Alright, for those of you who are still here, go and interact with that. Just like it, retweet it, whatever. Just pinned it. Alright, I think F1 Dash looks fine, yeah? Let me actually make sure it is. This is slightly ahead. I need to delay it by like another 4 seconds. Wait. Let me just update this. Alright, please wait for 22 seconds, okay. Yeah, this is... Now it's pretty much lined up with where I'm at. All good. Alright, let's see. I got gigaspammed. Oh my god! Oh, Yuki Tsunoda! That's not a time set, that's a -5. Oh, that is a big crash. Whoa. Oh, no, 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 no. I barely got seated, man. We barely started. Yeah, that car is absolutely smashed. Holy. Alright, I guess we put this up. This was my team, Christian. Oof. That is a brutal crash. That's not great for Tsunoda, man. How many drivers can Red Bull go through in a season? Wow, wow, wow. Red flag. Differential working out so far. Yeah. I did say Yuki would be better next week. Oh, yeah, he just bunched to the curb. Oh, it flipped! Whoa! Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh my god, that is brutal! Whoa. That crash is insane! How did he walk away from that? That was so high speed. Gearbox definitely destroyed. Whoa. That is a brutal crash. My goodness. I mean, that definitely set off some G alarms. He definitely has to go to medical. How did he walk away from that? I am consider me gooped. I have no idea how he walked away from that. Yeah, Red Bull mechanics have some work to do. Oh, that car is absolutely smashed. Oh, I love this sport. I love this sport, man. Oh. Ay, 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 ay. That crash is actually insane. I'm super happy he walked away from that. The modern Formula 1 cars, man. Like, if that's in 1995, that is a couple of things broken. That might be the biggest crash of the year. Is that bigger than Duan's crash in Japan? I think it is. I mean, it looks more brutal than the Duan crash. I mean, the Duan crash was high speed. But that, I mean, the way it flipped around,
that I mean, the just the visual of that one is more spectacular, I suppose. Yeah, that might be the biggest one this year for sure. I mean, the car flipped, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the one. Bro, you can't compare. No, I kind of can't, can I? That's definitely... Whoa. Wow. Rumors are also crashing McLaren. Yeah, yeah. I actually watched. The reason I was thinking about like over the season is I watched a video that like talked about the most brutal crash each year in F1. It's actually a pretty good video, pretty interesting one. One of those like YouTube rabbit holes where you just go down and then suddenly you're sitting and watching like an hour and 20-minute long video talking about the worst crash every year in F1. And that one, oh, yeah, just a bounce and he, yeah, completely helpless. But he probably went into that. I think that's driver error, right? Oof. Yeah, the way the car just like rolls over the barriers there in that speed is. I felt like that could have gone so much worse. I feel like he hit, like the rear of the car hit and like just. But he properly went airborne there. That car is destroyed. I mean, it's not, you know, Paris and Monaco destroyed, but it's pretty destroyed. Second team as Red Bull rip. You're gonna be fine. I mean, the problem here is that you're not gonna get the points for both. Okay, after such a crash, it feels kind of weird to talk about F1 Fantasy, but we saw him walk out of that, so I feel fine talking about F1 Fantasy here. Even though that was a scary crash. Right, so if you have Red Bull in your team, the main problem here, like, sure, Yukinola's going to get -5 for not setting a time, but that's not that crazy, and he probably will race tomorrow. Assuming he starts from pit lane, I can't imagine that gearbox is whole. So I'm assuming he starts from pit. Maybe he can get some overtakes from the back, or at least positions gained if other drivers DNF. So he might, you know, regain those 5 points that he lost from quali here. But it also just hurts that you don't get the bonus for both drivers reaching Q3, right? Yeah, so glad I didn't go with Red Bull differential. Yeah, I think that, like, Red Bull differential here looks way worse now. Way worse. I mean, I guess if Max Verstappen wins, it looks still good, right? Because Yuki Tsunoda is going to start last. He can maybe climb to... I don't know how far he can actually realistically climb in Imola. I don't think he can do like a heroic P20 to P10, P8 sort of run. Maybe he can get like a P14, P13, P12 if he's lucky. And in that instance, you know, that sort of climb would obviously get him quite a decent amount of points, and then if Max were to win on top of that, I do think so. I think if you're on Red Bull Racing Constructor, it's not over for you yet, but you do kind of need Max to properly clutch up now and probably win the race to not fall behind Mercedes users. Yeah, I mean, the current, it's not like... Yeah, it's because he goes airborne up that sort of... Wow.
They're just showing the crash again. I feel like there's the change between the gravel and the grass. The change between the gravel and the grass almost became like a ramp there. So obviously, like, he rides the curb and like just bounces out. Yes, so like, sure, he skids along. Yeah, I'm just listening to the driver radios now, but I you know, sure, he skids along, but the way it flipped around, the way it did. I feel like that's, you know, he kind of like got launched up, you know, where the gravel meets the grass. How is he just walking away from that? I don't get it, man. The safety in this sport has come such a long way. It's so impressive, honestly. Wow. Long red flag. I'm just listening to some interesting strategy talk here. Not much to say, really. I mean, this red flag is likely to take a while to fix the barrier. 12-13 left. Not that many teams actually got laps through. McLaren didn't get a lap through. You can't do that, Austin. Final fix only works for drivers, unfortunately. Green flag. Colapinto seems to have done the same thing that Mercedes did the other week when they got like, did they get a 1 place grid penalty for that when they went out before the red flag thing was over? Yeah, I mean, they immediately admitted the mistake, so we'll see what happens there. But he is out first, right? Yeah, he could get a penalty for this, which honestly I would be happy about. I love my cheap drivers getting penalties and starting further back. Can someone remind me, if anyone's still here in chat, what was the penalty that Mercedes got for this? Was it that 1 place grid penalty they got for going out before, or did it just get a fine? There was something Mercedes did that gave them a 1 place grid penalty. Was this it? Yeah, it was this one, right? Because I can't remember if this is what they did that gave them 1 place, or if this just gave them a fine, or it was something else. And I mean, I'll take every position further back that my cheap drivers can start in. Apart from Albon, I want Albon like a P3. You remember Russell and George getting a 1 place grid penalty? Well, I mean, that would be a 2 place grid penalty, wouldn't it? That was so stupid. That was so stupid. Why did I say that? That's funny. Isaac Hadger, the only driver on the grid who's never been knocked out in Q1. And somehow we still have him in our F1 fantasy teams, despite him never exiting Q1. JB with the information, thank you. George and Kimi, 1 place grid penalty for a red flag breach during the 2025 Bahrain Grand Prix qualifying session. This penalty moved Russell from 2nd to 3rd and Anthony from 4th to 5th. Yeah, that's what it was. And I think Colapinto just did the exact same thing. Sorry about that. All right. Yep, time is good. All right. Hadjar up to 3rd. Alonso on a decent lap is probably making it through. Just considering the option, how does Final Fix work? Do you use it after quali? Yeah. After the points are out from quali, you can use it, and you can only use it on drivers, not constructors. A very common misconception. And once you've used it, you get the points for the driver you bring in's next session. You don't. So say you bring in the guy who was pole sitter, you don't get the 10 points they got from qualifying P1. You keep the points you got from the driver
you had from the beginning, and then you get the points from the new driver in the next session. And then after the weekend is over, your team reverts back to what it was before you final fixed. So your team would go, say that you had Piastri and you final fixed Piastri to Russell for some reason. You would get Piastri's points in quali, Russell's points in the race, and then you would revert back to Piastri after the weekend is over. Yeah, drivers only is rough. The most powerful way of using the final fixes is probably later in the season when we start getting like engine penalties on like high overtake tracks, such as Spa, for example. You could have someone like Max Verstappen taking an engine penalty and starting 10 places back and climbing up to P1, and you get infinite points. So you could have... Sorry about that. Oof. Yawn. You could have one driver in qualifying, and then you could final fix in someone who starts further back. Max Verstappen goes top of the charts with half a second faster than Alonso, and I mean 7/10 faster than Russell is pretty impressive. A second faster than Leclerc is honestly tragic for all us Ferrari fans. Hamilton only 9th. Haas just does not have the quali pace, which is good normally, but on tracks where you can't overtake, that's a problem. So I'm kind of glad I sold my double Haas this week. Sorry. PS, what is this lap from Verstappen, man? 3/10 from Piastri to Verstappen. I mean, Max is the GOAT, but that is kind of insane. It's a brutal lap from Verstappen. Norris, 7.5 tenths from Verstappen's time. What? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, this is what Red Bull users need now. Like Red Bull Racing constructors. You need Max to dominate this weekend. I mean, not dominate, you just need him to, like, pole and win. Here comes Norris. Ooh, touches the dust. Touches the grass. Whew. Track record is stopping wrist. Yup. Grab an espresso, mate. Yeah, so I've been up since 6 a.m. Beginning to feel it. I don't think I have a Red Bull. A Red Bull would be really nice right now. I'm not gonna lie. Is your T1 around 111 million? My T1 is 110.1. But my T1 on my other account that I started after Australia is at 112 point something. Alright, everyone's trying to go out for a second run. This could be tight. There is usually traffic problems around Imola. Only 3 minutes. I feel like this could be one of those instances where everyone doesn't get out. I mean, Max does not need to go out. Mediums? Ay, 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 ay. Sauber launched out into Kimi.
4K Global. 4K Global is fantastic, honestly. Yeah, my team that I started after Australia that didn't even race, like I didn't have that team in Australia, is 9K overall. Limitless used, sure, but incredible. My main team is like, I don't even remember what it is, but it's high. Yeah, my main team is 85K. Oh no, so bad. Of course. But I haven't used Limitless on that team, to be fair, so. Alright, let's see if Bortoletto or Hulkenberg can do something. Ideally, I would like Bortoletto to be lost. Bortoletto 15th is probably not going to be enough. I think Hulkenberg is off. So Hulkenberg's out. Hulkenberg's lower than Bortoletto then. Yeah, Hulkenberg had a good lap going, but the lap time is deleted as well. Unlucky. Alright, I don't care about the fans. Show me the horses. Are they on fast laps? They are. Yellow flag. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Colapinto. Colapinto. Oh, Colapinto's binned it. No, not like this. Oh no. No, Colapinto. I think Behrman made it through, I think. Colapinto, you can't do that, man. Oh, he's actually out of the sport. Alright, guys, who is the next Alpine driver? Place your bets. Who's the next Alpine driver in 5 races? I mean, okay, I would rather Colapinto bin it now than bin it tomorrow, right? I will say that. I'll happily take a Colapinto 15th place. That's fine. Fine by me. Why did he fucking... Sorry for swearing. Why did he send that? Yeah, today is way better than tomorrow. But come on, you cannot... Oh. These rookies, man. It's painful to watch. Alpine are gonna churn through them like Red Bull at this rate. Yeah, who's the next guy in the Alpine? They get Checo back? Cheeky Valtteri Bottas? I mean, who even want to touch that team, right? Danny for Alpine. That is top 5 things that will never happen. Rough night for those lads and ladses. Yup. Oh, yeah, I mean, these curbs are... Oh, a massive hit with the wall. Oof. Bonk. I mean, it's not a Tsunoda crash, but it's a pretty big one. It's not a small little touch with the wall. Yeah, he doesn't get any negative points for this because he set a lap time. He's gonna start 15th tomorrow. Unless like something broken, he has to start pit lane. Yeah, he finished the lap, so he's fine. No negatives here.
Can I have a no negative chip for every weekend? Please? I want a no negative chip every week. If I could trade my, like, all other chips away for no negatives, I would. Oh, Behrman didn't get over the line in time, so he's out. Means Bortoletto's through in 15th, so call. That's not great for us with Bortoletto. I would rather Bortoletto was out there. Behrman 19th. I mean, the Haas is always just 18th, 19th. Sold them both. I mean, they're going to decrease in price, but it's good positions to gain points and positions in the race. Grid penalty, Andy Bin said, cool. Yeah, oof. Maybe he's P16, you know? We'll take it. What did I just witness with my eyes? FIA stewards, no further investigation. Perez Norris impeding.
Checo?
Huh?
I can't even screenshot it because F1 TV blocks it. I want to create a meme, dude. Come on. Let me meme it. That's funny. Oh, I hate it here. You're so boring. Why? Just let me screenshot the feed, man. It's not like I'm live streaming it to 1,000 people.
Also, can we just talk about Alonso and Stroll P3, P4? Hello?
Now we just need Stroll and Sainz to crash into each other tomorrow. Okay, can we not? I've had enough of this. Oh my god. Oh, they gotta fix another barrier. Okay, I'm gonna go and grab a coffee because I'm actually gonna fall asleep. These red flags are too much for me. I'll be right back. Did I miss anything? They're trying to get Berman's time through. Is he through? He's still sitting in the car. Q2 will start at 16:46 in 5 minutes time. Oh, they're filming Duan. That's so funny. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. I think coffee's done. Alright, quick cup of coffee is done. Now I will probably not fall asleep. I can't promise anything though. I am beginning to slightly lose it. I mean, it's as much as I, love an interesting quality like this as the next guy. Red flags are kind of annoying. I will say. Ay, ay, ay. Colapinto, Colapinto, Colapinto. And also that he came into this with a reputation for being crash prone. That has not helped his stock. Not in the slightest. I honestly don't care what the difference between the C5 and the C6 is here, so I'll mute this for a second. Alright, so Colapinto, I don't think Behrman's time was reinstated. That means Bortoletto's 15th. Perhaps, obviously he gets to put a time in Q2. Colapinto's car is smushed. So nothing he can do there. You gain views with an empty chair. I mean, that's usually how it goes, right? I've been through this before. Yeah, so Colapinto's gonna start 15th. Perhaps he gets a 1-place grid penalty for the red flag infringement in the pit lane. That would put him 16th. Not a bad start for him. So honestly, if he had to crash this weekend, I would rather him do it exactly right where he did it at that exact moment, and not any sooner, and definitely not tomorrow. If he crashes tomorrow, he's not getting more than 5 races, and I'm certain of it. Yeah, gotta love the internet. I mean, people love a chair. Yeah, Alonso Stroll P3 P4 on mediums is interesting to say the least.
So what am I hoping for here then? I mean, Colapinto's already out. Only 4 people are going to be out. Ideally, I want Bortoleto to be as far back as possible. So P14. Still not great for him. I don't see him holding that in the race, right? And other than that, I don't really care, to be honest. Wasn't it supposed to start at 46 local time? Come on. Shop. This was supposed to be a quick little watch along. I would have been done by now. I could have had the quick 2-hour nap before heading to the Eurovision party tonight. But no, instead I'm here drinking coffee. This is a terrible idea, but I'm actually just... It's lap time of car 87 Behrman under review. Is this what's taking time? Uh-oh. I mean, I would rather Behrman was through than Bortoleto. Yeah, they haven't... Behrman hasn't gotten out of the car yet. What a dramatic qualifying. Are they reinstating that time? Review gives you hope. Well, it doesn't give me hope for a 2-hour nap. Ugh. Yeah, I mean, okay, that is fair. I am complaining, but Hulkenberg should have been knocked out previously when, like, Albon was the one who got knocked out. So I'd actually rather they do check this properly. And not, you know, come in with the, oh, lap time deleted in Q1 when the driver's already gone. Come on. How hard can it be? You just need to check. Ugh. Frame by frame review is crazy. I'm just gonna keep complaining, aren't I? I shouldn't complain, but I am complaining. Oh god, I can't handle these red flags, man. Oh. Actually, how difficult can it be? It's been 5 minutes now. I've been up at work since 6 a.m. I slept like 4 hours last night, I think, because I was up writing an essay for next week, and also prepping for my little meetup tomorrow at at a brewery, which will be fun. But obviously that's more dedicated time to this and less dedicated time to my studies, which you can argue what my priorities should be, but that's how it goes. My God. What am I doing? I'm this close to giving up and just watching it tomorrow. The coffee hasn't kicked in yet. And like, I know it's important that they get this right, but it's like, it's a Haas versus a Sauber. Like, whoever goes through here is gonna be P14. It's fine. Oh my God. I'm really sorry for complaining. I think it's correct that they're doing this, but this is taking way too much time. It cannot be this difficult. They were supposed to resume this session 7 minutes ago. Oh, it's gonna start in 5 minutes. Lord help me. Lord save me, please. Okay, so F1 TV is currently showing exactly what happened, and it feels very obvious that he made it. This is like when VAR in football takes 14 minutes to determine that he was a toe offside. Like, he just makes it. Two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's like 7 seconds of slow motion. Like, if you're watching it at the speed at which F1 TV is currently analyzing it and showing it, meaning they have the footage of it, that means 7 seconds of slow motion is available where it's clear that Berman makes it across the line in time. It cannot be this difficult to overturn. Valtteri Bottas is just chilling, man. This cannot be this difficult to figure out. Caffeine affects your quality of sleep, yeah. I'm well aware. God save me. What can we do while we wait? Have they updated the elite data? They have. What? They're letting Bortoletta drive? What? All of that and then Bortoletta's going out. That's an incorrect decision. This is an absolute mess. 2 crashes, and then like Behrman should be out. Why is Bortoletto in the fast lane? Oh my god. Alright, anyway, a bunch of people went from Mercedes to Red Bull, some went to Williams, that's cool. Everyone kept Hadjar, cool. Some people sold Piastri, absolute madmen. Dude, Bortoletto's just standing first in queue. They're gonna send him home, and he's just gonna be stuck there. I hate this, dude. Colapinto owned by 80%, 78.9% of the top 500. What's the global 500 on the Colapinto scale? Even, I mean, 67% is pretty good. I think the global 500 also know what they're doing, somewhat. Apart from spamming their chips too early. How is this okay, this is the worst VAR check of all time. No message from race control, and if Bortoletto actually goes on the track, this is a travesty. I'll actually just end the stream. It's 58. They're supposed to start now. We're still on Q2, by the way. Green flag, Bortoletto goes out on track. Are you kidding me? Are you actually kidding me? How have they done this? Okay, so they just VAR checked that for 12 minutes and nothing happened, even though it's obviously clear that Behrman should have been through. Rob, I just joined and looked like it fallen. I'm trying to drink coffee. I've been working since 6 a.m. and I started yawning a bunch after the second red flag, and now I'm just pissed. Bortoletto, my goat. Oh! I cannot believe this, son. This is actually a sham. There's no way they took 12 minutes to do absolutely nothing when it was obviously clear for anyone with eyes, functioning eyes, to see that Behrman made it across the finish line. It's not like it was even like 2 frames, okay? We're not talking 2 frames here. We're talking 7 seconds of slowed down footage. That's like 7,000 frames. I don't know. Hey, Bortoletto P1. Stop the session. Might as well. No one else needs to cross the line. Bortoletto P1. Let's go. How are we still in Q2? Okay, I'm saying this right now. I don't know how many people are still left in this after this. 39 people. You guys are the goats, okay? If someone bins it now and there's another red flag, I'm ending stream. I can't handle it. I've been sitting here for an hour already and they just started Q2. My plan, okay, I had a solid plan. Work, rush home, just barely make it to the stream for, 3 hours, go to sleep for 2 hours, Eurovision party. But now the sleep portion of that plan has been thrown out the window, and I'm drinking coffee. Stroll binning it would be the funniest thing. I will say that. Fair enough, it's 11 p.m. for me. That's late. That's on the later side. 6 hours. Where would that be?
6 out of there. I'd rather stroll Vincent tomorrow instead, to be honest. Yeah, that would be kind of funny for those of us who don't have him. I have him on my competitive team. Do I have my? No, I don't have it up. Yeah, Rob, on the team I started after Australia, the competitive team that's top 10k in the world, even though it didn't get any points in Australia. I could afford Albon plus Stroll plus Colapinto Bortoletto. So, it's West Australia. I mean, I was in Australia for Melbourne GP, and that was 10 hours. So I'm assuming it's West Australia then. Yeah, all right, that makes sense. Australia. By the way, Australia got absolutely robbed in Eurovision. I will say that. I mean, the stage show wasn't the best, but it's probably one of my favorite songs of the year. It's on a couple of my playlists. I will say that I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the vibes. So absolutely robbed that they didn't qualify for the final. Absolutely robbed. I would have voted for it, but Sweden couldn't vote in the semi-final. As long as Sweden wins Eurovision. We're gonna win it tonight. That's the plan. Easy bara the bus to win. Though it looks pretty close, actually. I don't think it's gonna be a... I feel like it's the first year in a while where it won't be... I mean, obviously, I mean, last year it was kind of even, actually. So I shouldn't say that, but... I don't feel like it's a sweep. But I also don't feel like there's any other strong songs that have both like massive jury and televote appeal. I'll be honest, haven't watched it. Love Australia, just random report. I just love competitions, right? It's one of my many obsessions. I have a lot of hobbies and like interests, and when I like something, I get obsessed about it. And Eurovision is one of those things. I've watched it since I was little. I mean, it's Sweden. You know, what can I say? Eurovision is more of a holiday than Christmas. But yeah, I do enjoy Australia in Eurovision. I think it's great, and I enjoyed their song this year, and the fact that they didn't qualify is sad. They're definitely in my top 3 this year. Big snap from Albon. Oh, we've been sitting and looking at the elite data this entire time. Whoops, sorry. I'm guessing you love IKEA, meatballs, and PewDiePie. Yeah, I mean that's a pretty good. Add ABBA and Zlatan Ibrahimovic to that, and you pretty much have the list. I do unironically really enjoy PewDiePie's content now, though. I will say that his vlogs are actually insane. Like they're some of the best on YouTube. Me and my girlfriend watch them together. Actually, they're so enjoyable. His little cute family Japan vlogs are. I love how his content has shifted to that. How could I forget ABBA? Yeah, I mean, I've never been a guy to enjoy watching vlogs. His vlogs are so well edited and just so wholesome. It's like a cleanse from the daily hatred I see online. Oh. It's crazy how far that man's come. But I mean, he's also kind of living the life, right? enough money not to worry about it, family, and just chilling in Japan. Yeah, enjoying life, making fun of his retirement. Yep, literally living the dream. Dude, Hadgers is actually the qualifying goat. Alright. Stroll and Alonso are back where they belong, not being P3, P4. So, at least that's something. By the way, we spent 15 minutes worrying about Bortoletto and Behrman, and Bortoletto's going to finish 14th. Yeah, we're still in Q2. 6 more minutes of Q2. And it's another 26 minutes of Q2 if someone decides to bin it now. Dude, Stroll in P11 would be really funny, no? Stroll in P11 would be really funny. Stroll in the wall would be funnier, but Stroll in P11 would be pretty funny. Albon's only 13th though. He needs to get his act together. I forgot to set my line. How effed am I? Piastri, Hadjar, Alonso, Behrman, Lawson. You're pretty effed, man. I'm so sorry. Your budget's actually cooked. I wish I had something good to say about that, Great White Shadow. But that lineup is actually... Yeah, your lineup, you're actually cooked. You're losing probably 2 million budget on that team. 0.2 million from Hadjar, 0.6 from Alonso, 0.6 from Behrman, 0.6 from Lawson. Yeah, Alonso, Behrman, Lawson are like bottom 3, you know? Am I smoking? I think they're bottom 3. Apart from Sonoda. Oh, Gasly's there as well. Yeah, but Alonso, Behrman, Lawson. Unlucky. No, don't FF. FF doesn't save your budget. I mean, you can still hope that they get points, right? It's like if Final Fix doesn't save your budget because after Final Fix it reverts back to what it was previously. So save your Final Fix, hope they get a lot of points, and you just gotta eat the points loss or the budget loss. Aston Martin are in the mediums. What is if Aston Martin puts a P3, P4 on mediums, I will actually. What is going on? Yeah, I'm so sorry, Great White Shadow. That's a really unfortunate team to have and miss the deadline with. But good thing is that like at least not yet. Budget hasn't been super important. You're gonna end up with like a Gasly instead of an Albon in your team, which you just gotta hope Albon bends it. I mean, they couldn't get the lap times to work on the softs in the in Q1, and in Q1 they ran on mediums and went P3, P4. So the car just works better on the mediums. They are using a softer tire compound set compared to last year, I believe. So like the mediums on the Aston Martin were the softs from last year. So maybe it's just these like ultra soft tires or whatever they're called that the Aston Martin just doesn't work. Yeah, you're allowed to be in hards. You're allowed to be in inters and wets if it's dry if you want to. You're allowed to be on edit. It's just that you're required to. Oh, screen swap. Thank you. Yeah, you're just required to. In sprint qualifying, you're required to use different tires. You're required to use mediums in the first one, right? Oh, that last sip was not that warm anymore. That's unfortunate. But no, in regular qualifying, you can use whichever tire you want. I mainly just need Albon to get his act together and get to Q3. Because I did not buy Albon for him to start P13. That was not the reason I bought him.
I wouldn't mind a cheeky Hadger P7 though, I will say. That sounds like a delightful time. Leclerc almost as fast as Piastri in the first sector. Where were they losing all that time though? Because they are losing a heck of a lot of time. Alright, let's see. Leclerc. Oh, Hamilton is 6/10 back in sector 2. Fantastic. He must have made a mistake though. That sector's yellow. Let's see Leclerc's time. Okay, Leclerc green sector and went from being pretty much even in sector 1 with McLaren to being 3/10 behind. So that's lovely. Antonelli half a second behind the McLaren. Here comes Hamilton. Did not improve. Will that be enough? I mean, Antonelli's behind, so it's probably enough, right? Leclerc must have been a mistake. Does not improve. Sainz got purple in sector 1. That's fun. Albon. Okay, there's definitely pace here. Whoa, wait. Sainz is 200s behind Piastri after sector 2. Where the Ferrari was like half a second behind. Albon, yellow sector 2, but it's faster than... Oh, Sainz in 10th, okay. Sainz is on an absolute flyer, by the way. Sainz goes top! Huh? Alright, Albon, if you boom this, I will never forgive you. Okay, ahead of Ferrari, that should be enough. I think Antonelli might be out here. Gasly's definitely through. Gasly's gonna be fast. Yeah, Antonelli's out. Antonelli's out. Red Bull users are laughing because Mercedes won't get the driver bonus either. Bortoletto, 14th. Unsurprising. Here comes Gasly. Alonso's improving on mediums. Gasly's P6. Yeah, Antonelli's out. Alright, here comes Stroll and Alonso, both on mediums. If they do not... please, God, what is going... Stroll is 6th! Oh, what is going on? Alonso on the mediums. Don't go fastest. He's 6th, okay. Both Ferraris are out. Both Ferraris and Antonelli are out in Italy. I actually cannot deal with this. Both Ferrari are out in Q2 at Imola. Oh no. How is this Ferrari car so bad, man? Dude, Stroll's actually just the GOAT. Why are the mediums so good for the Aston Martin? This doesn't make any sense. Oh, I'm so tired. I just want to cry. This is actually the best qualifying of all time. There's 27 people left. The caffeine effect. I don't know what's going on. Why is this happening? What have I done to deserve this? Oh. Dude, this is the most exciting Q3 of all time. You only have 4 top drivers. You have Piastri, Norris, Russell, and Verstappen. Limitless users are in the mud. Well, everyone's in the mud. What's going on? Oh my god. Oh, Stroll's actually about to just put a P fucking 4 and just... Oh, don't do this to me, man. How Sainz P1? Can we just... I don't get it. I don't get it. Is Stroll actually just the GOAT? Aren't you glad you stayed up? I'm losing my mind. I'm actually losing my mind. Albon just made it, by the way. He's only 10. Albon, get your act together. Your teammate is P1. I just bought you in after you've gotten double-digit holes this entire season. You better put that car P3. You actually better put that car P3. What is going on? Okay. Are you cursed? Please, why? 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 Just... I don't think they're hating buying Hamilton. I think the car is just dog shit. I'm gonna be honest. They made the money back from Hamilton instantly just on stock prices. Oh, I'm so tired. Ugh. Antonelli 13th is insane. How are you tired? Because I've been working since 6 a.m. and I didn't get that much sleep last night. That's why. It's been a hectic week. Yes, I worked from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. I got to go home a bit early today to make it to the stream. Luckily, I have a good boss that allows me to be a bit flexible with my time. So I got to leave work early. I was supposed to work until like 3 or 4. Back to work. Have a good day. Have a good day, you too, man. Sorry that you missed the deadline. That sucks. Hope you stick around and play out the rest of the season. It's not over yet. What do you work as? I do deliveries for a catering business. Extra work for weekends and for the summer, and around Christmas a lot. Stroll is the GOAT. Stroll's about to cook up another F1 Fantasy Masterclass. I know. Watch him put a P4. We had a vote, by the way, Rob. Where I asked, I think it's the most one-sided vote, most one-sided poll I've ever put into this stream, where I asked, will Stroll reach 9 points in F1 Fantasy this weekend? And like 85% said no. I suppose it's just those 15% that see the truth. Watching get caught because of it. I mean, they did bring upgrades, I will say, but like, they just slapped on the mediums that are suddenly like is this okay? Aston Martin, you've solved it. Don't use the softs ever. That was the problem this entire time. Just use medium tires. Oh, I cannot with this. Did Happy Jeet quit? That's such a funny comment. I don't think Happy Jeet quit. I'm quitting. How is Sainz P1? Alright, okay, actually, Albon, I need you to just put a P3 here. Sainz has the pace, you can have the pace too. Whole grid gonna go mediums? I mean, why not? At this point. I'm starving, by the way. I need food so badly.
This qualifying, this might be one of the most nuts qualifying of all times. One massive crash and one like pretty good shunt. A 15-minute VAR check that they still got the wrong decision on, which is insane to me. And then both Ferraris and Antonelli out at Imola, literally like the Hope boys. We have a Q3 with only 4 top drivers. Piastri, Norris, Verstappen, Russell. Which was, by the way, wait, where's my picture? Tell me I was wrong. That's the limit. And now suddenly, like, the Aston Martins, who've been garbage the entire year, slap on mediums and are like the third fastest car on the grid for no reason. For absolutely no reason. Sainz P1 in Q2. What do we even have here? I guess I have Hadjar. I guess my other team has Stroll in it, so. What a season. I mean, I was. Dude, if McLaren just had slightly worse race pace, this could have been the all-timer of a season. But I really thought Ferrari was going to take it to McLaren this year. Ferrari's gone backwards, it feels like, or at least not taking a step forwards. I think Verstappen takes pole now. I feel like this is like a Verstappen clutch moment. If there's any moment where Verstappen just clutches up, it's now. That's the thing though, like Ferrari's strategy this season has been good because they won that sprint race, right? I have the Max wins email from when, Max wins out of nowhere. Always impactful.
I'm still yawning despite chugging a cup of coffee.
How we have that? What, the emotes? It's only members have access to emotes. It's a members perk. I have a few emotes, but I should probably go through and update the list and add some new cool ones. They're similar to Twitch, right? You get emotes for becoming a member. I've only added 4 so far. And they are the goats. And then we have the Checo Huh. And then we have the Leclerc explain. Alright, Lando, first across the line, 14.9. Piastri fastest sector 2, Verstappen fastest sector 1. Verstappen's way faster than Norris. Piastri beats him by a tenth and a half, but Verstappen's gonna go fastest. Now, don't worry, Stroll and Alonso are just putting on softs now to give the other people a chance. Verstappen goes fastest. Russell. Fourth. Come on, Albon. Oh, you're so slow, Albon. Put on mediums. Yeah, Albon and Sainz are nowhere near. I guess the top teams tuned it up now, huh?
I mean, Stroll is beating Alonso, I will say that. Stroll just needed 10 years as a rookie to reach his potential, I suppose. Don't need the Ferrari shirt, at least. Hadjar's just casually 5th, by the way. What? Like, dude, Hadjar's actually just disgusting. This kid has no right being this fast in qualifying. He's actually just straight up the new Leclerc. Okay, we're talking about Stroll and Alonso slapping on mediums. We're talking about Sainz and Albon upsetting. We're talking about Gasly being fast. Now, Hadjar just puts a P5. Hadjar for Red Bull next season. I mean, you know, Tsunoda continuing on this for and Hadjar's in the Red Bull seat in 3 weeks' time. Or in the Alpine seat. I heard they are looking for a new driver. Put Hadjar in the RB and he's going to be out in Q1. Yup. Oof. Slight slide from Russell. Thank God it's only 5 minutes left. I think even despite that cup of coffee, I'm actually going to crash so hard as soon as I end stream. I'm sleeping so well for 35 minutes before I have to get up and go to the Eurovision viewing party. It's going to be the best 35 minutes of my life. It's an hour and a half since the deadline now, by the way. Alright, my goal for Monaco, by the way, I'm saying this now so I can't go back on my word. If I have I have an important thing due on Wednesday, but after that I think my Thursday and Friday is kind of chill next week. So my plan then is to figure out the multi-streaming and actually stream on both Twitch and YouTube for next deadline stream. I think it's time. No idea how popular Twitch is for F1 though. Me neither. The thing is, alright, so this is like some behind the scenes stuff, right? How YouTube streaming works is that like it's very optimal for like a fixed segment, such as a deadline stream. It's not optimal for being live for long periods of time, both in terms of reach and also like what it does for your channel for the algorithm. So, although I like being on stream and actually doing the watch along, it's technically bad for the channel because the viewership drops off so heavily after the deadline is over that then the stream is not pushed to more people. So after the drop off in viewers, basically like the people who are here are subscribers or those who've been here this entire time, right? Like no new people will join the stream. Whereas Twitch is kind of the opposite. On Twitch, it's better to just be live for a long time, right? It's better to be live in front of 30 people for 10 hours than it is to be in front of 200 people for 30 minutes. Whereas on YouTube, it's the complete opposite. So what I'm thinking is to essentially like do the deadline stream on both, multi-stream wise, and then for the
watch a long portion of the stream, move over onto Twitch, because then I don't feel like I'm actively hurting my channel by staying live for longer. So that's just some behind the scenes thinking for optimizing algorithms and stuff. I do think it's interesting how it works. I mean, YouTube medium on Alonso, poll incoming. Oh no. I mean, I'm assuming it's medium on Stroll as well. Russell slapping on the mediums is brave. I appreciate it. Williams no balls. They should have put it on. Yeah, Russell's copying the Aston Martins. If Russell polls this on the mediums,
Everyone should have been the mediums. Confirmed.
but I mean, the Mercedes is also known for being weird with tires. Like they're the fastest car on the grid on the mediums, and then they put on the hards, and they're suddenly like the fourth fastest, right? So I feel like Russell trying the mediums is very, very reasonable to try and get something. I feel like Piastri got kind of impeded there, no? Yeah, pole by a tenth, but that final sector was definitely compromised slightly by traffic. All right, I think Max takes pole here. Oh, Max, that's a disgusting first sector. Filthy first sector. Albon 5th, I'll take it. Stay there, please. But I'm assuming like everyone behind him is improving as well. No, I mean Norris is gonna bottle it again. Oh, Verstappen doesn't improve in sector 2. Is half a tenth behind, and I think McLaren's really good in the final sector. Norris, nope, nowhere. Piastri takes pole. Max. Sainz is improving. He's probably going to take Albon here. Oh. Max misses out by 300s. Piastri takes it. Alonso beats Albon on the mediums. Of course he does. Sainz is also going to beat Albon. Gasly, 9th. Sure. Sainz beats Albon. God damn it. Alright. Russell beats Norris! Oh my god, cinema. Where's Stroll? Show Stroll? Show Stroll? Oh, is he done? I think he's done. Yeah, I think Stroll's done. Alright. I mean, it's the kid again. Absolute monster, by the way. Absolute monster. Alright, Stroll did not improve. Must have made a mistake. But, I mean, the mediums definitely improved Russell's time. So, mediums was the way. I mean, okay, if you had told me when I made my transfer that Albon is going to start P7, I would have still bought Albon. So, I'm happy with that. Sainz P6 hurts a bit. Stroll P8 hurts a bit. Hadjar P9 after being P5 for a while hurts a bit. Alonso's P5. Alright, shout out Alonso, by the way. P5 Alonso is insane. I mean, Gasly wasn't really close to the rest. I don't know what happened there. Alright, thank you so much for sticking around. I wish I could, usually I would talk about what this means for F1 Fantasy, but I've been here for probably 45 to 50 minutes more than I expected to be. So I'm just going to sign off. I need to get some sleep if I'm going to be able to stay up and watch all of Eurovision tonight. So I will see you in the week video on probably Monday and maybe like Monday plus Thursday or Friday, I would imagine. Yeah, I'll get a quick video up on Monday, like team selection video, and then I have a bunch of stuff to do leading up to Wednesday. So I'll imagine that like a final thoughts sort of video will be out Thursday or Friday, and then obviously deadline stream once again next week. I'm gonna bet. Yeah, Red Bull differential might pay off. Yeah, it might pay off. Alright, so yeah, thank you so much for sticking around, those of you who did. We'll see where we end up next week, but hopefully I'll be live on Twitch as well.
I'll try and get that sorted. All right. I was about to say good night, but I know it's good night for some of you. I'll see you next time. And man,
If the race is as crazy as the quality,
I'm leaving out. See you later.